time to go before we are able to hit King of Games. Unlike last month, I definitely am not planning on doing it all in one stream. Especially since my deck is significantly worse for the majority of this stream. We're starting off with Explosion Drive, which is not a particularly powerful deck. And the other decks we are going to be playing are similarly a bit underpowered. Looks like we are up first. So we could go for the full meter impact boosted by Music Princess's Recital. But if they Dragonic Slayer, they can pop the Recital and just end us immediately. So as normal, I think it's probably best if we just go ahead and set our field. We can use the Recital to prevent direct damage from affecting us this turn. Welcome, Mathlesia. Hope you are having a good one. Full meter impact also being in the hand will help us later, as if they bring out a Dragius, we can use the skill to boost it up. And of course they do have the Dragius here, so that is one thing to start watching out for. And same, I also have not been playing a ton. Been pretty busy over the last few days. Alright, looks like they are getting ready to battle. We do have one 1400, but they don't run into it, unfortunately. We probably do use the Recital here just to prevent us from bricking on the next turn. They do have one trap card, which is a little bit concerning, but I think with our skill, we are fine against a barrier. Welcome, Zoltan, and welcome, Tony. Oh yeah, so Bender Break is one of the decks we are going to be playing today. I'm probably not crazy enough to go all the way in on Strange Forces myself here, but I respect the grind. So we can go for the Torna, but I might want to Mystic Dealer as well. I think I should start off just going ahead and summoning out the full meter impact, and then I'll figure out whether or not to dealer afterwards. Let's go ahead and use this, activate the skill. We give our monster the attack point boost, then we can set the road magic, perfect, and we can add Fire Golem into our hand, and that's going to help us establish a full board. We do ultimately want to use this Torna, as now, even if they have a Widespread Ruin, we are going to be able to beat over Dragius. So let's go ahead, activate the effect, switch over this Dragius, and we will see if we are able to just safely destroy it or not. I am kind of expecting it to be a copy of the barrier, and if it is, oh, it's a Phantom Bind. Very interesting. So we do actually lose out on some damage, as we wouldn't have had any rock monsters in the graveyard. But we definitely need to destroy Dragius, so we will miss out. And, it's probably better this way than losing the Torna by swinging into the Winged Dragon. Which Road Magic deck do I think is less bad? I don't know. My first guess is that it's going to be the Tempest deck being slightly better, just because it lets you go ahead and search out cards straight from the deck. Basically, being able to search Torna is actually a valuable thing. We're losing the Road Magic here, which kind of sucks. Oh, but the one benefit to Road Magic Explosion is that players are now actually using spell and trap cards. So the Road Magic is going to be very significant burn damage when it goes off. So I do lose the Road Magic here, and my board is getting cleared. Not looking great. We do know they are running 2 Phantom Binds, so perhaps it is not unreasonable to assume this might be the third. And we draw slightly suboptimally. Let's go ahead and Fire Golem, activate the skill, we can set the Road Magic Explosion. Then we add a card back. I think we take the Full Meter Impact here. Maybe? But we don't have enough low levels to summon it out. But I guess we can just discard it for the burn damage. Overall, this is probably a very weak play, though. We activate Splat to boost itself up. And now it is level 8, so we can Road Magic Explosion and burn them for a pretty significant chunk of damage. However, we just lose. This is essentially a game on board. We don't have any real traps to protect us. Phantom Bind or Barrier clears our monster. And we will be moving on to game number 2. Hopefully they will end it relatively quickly. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this volume and put on the background music that we usually have during our streams. So let's go ahead and head over to YouTube and I will get that running. Assuming it feels like loading in. So you get this format. It was only okay-ish pre-mini box. Yeah, so Dragonic Resonance as a deck was obviously very, very strong. But you're not wrong when you say that Slayer itself was basically just a card there to enable the skill. Some players did actually start running Phantom Bind around the early November period. It started seeing a big uptick in usage. From my experience on the ladder, and popping Phantom Bind when people started playing it was important. But it's definitely now a quintessential part of the deck. Slayers, get this format up, and arguable 1 or 2 of, and now it's guaranteed 3 of. Of course, yep, completely agreed there. Alright, so we go down quickly, but I'll go ahead and send them the nice, and to see if we can get out of silver 4 with this deck. My plan was basically to try to rank up a couple of times, using slightly better decks as we go along. Though if we're already facing Dragonic Resonance players in silver, it could be slightly problematic. Looking like the audio might be a little low, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it up. Let me know if this is too loud on the background music here. Alright, so they are on a rank up game. I kind of want to help them out, which I am already kind of doing by just playing this deck anyway. So, and it is silver. It's pretty easy to rank up, especially if you are on Luke. Tribute set, so that's got to be a Gravity Pest Dragon with only 1,000, with only 1,000 defense. So we will Dark Sorcerer, summon out the Axel Wonder Splat, activate our effect, boost up the Wonder Splat, set a card, and set another. And then battle phase, our Dark Sorcerer should be perfectly fine destroying Gravity Pest Dragon, and we can get in for 1,800 before passing turn. So I'm running Monster Reincarnation in this deck because we only have so many access to so many copies of our boss monsters, and I figured being able to get them back would be a good option, especially if they get milled by a card like Splat. So they do have the 2 low levels, and unfortunately we don't really have any trap cards here, so our board is pretty weak going into their turn. We do see them mill a Dragonic Pressure, and we are very quickly going to be finding ourselves at that 4,800 damage threshold. They already have 1 Sports Dragon, and that's a Prismatic Pressure. Incredible. But if their board is only a Bunker Strike, it's hard to say whether that is a good thing or not, because they decided to keep 2 face down cards, though the first one should be a, oh, Now this is interesting. So let's Dealer. Then we can Wolf Fang. We go into the full meteor impact, reincarnate for the splat. And then we can burn them, I think. We do have a Fire Golem Engrave, which is good as well. I don't think we need the Dealer. So we go ahead, Tribute 2 for full meteor impact. Then, activate the skill, Explosion Drive, boost up, set the card, and then we add in Wolfang. Next up is Monster Reincarnation. Let's ditch one to add you. Then we splat it out. Activate the effect. XL Wonder Spot gains levels. And then we do have the chance here to burn them. Or we can activate Full Meteor Impact's effect. By sending it to the graveyard, we can destroy the Bunker Strike, guaranteeing that we can inflict the damage to them, even if they have a Widespread Ruin. So I am ultimately going to do this. We give up some potential damage in exchange for the safety of knowing we are going to beat into their life points. We do see the Widespread Ruin, so let's say we didn't do that, we would have attacked, blown up, and then not been able to do anything else. Unfortunately, we do only have 4,800 life, so that is threatening for a full combo to end the game, or of course even a Dragius here. Why does my opponent also open Widespread Ruin? It is a 1 in 6 chance, so it is a lot more common than you might expect. Here comes another set card, and Dragonic Resonance here to run over my field. This is 4,800 damage, but I do have a monster. So if that last card is another monster with 1,200 or more attack, I lose. Luckily, it looks like we do survive for now. But this is our last shot to actually make a difference. Let's go ahead with Doriado. Then we can tribute it off for Ancillor. Activate the skill. We buff the Ancillor up, and then we can activate Road Magic Explosion, inflicting some damage to the opponent. They are down to 1,400, but we can only inflict 1,000. So that is unfortunately going to be game. I don't think there's really anything we can do about it. We can swing in, try to get a little bit of damage, but it's not really going to make much of a difference. And if they have a Phantom Bind, oh yeah, so the barrier, that's why I didn't attack Slayer. I figured there were too many trap cards that would have just killed us immediately. So unfortunately, with 800 life points remaining, they get this one. Even though we were able to activate the skill 1 or 2 times, it wasn't quite enough for us to be able to win. There is an argument that I should be running 7-Sword Magician since we have a ton of different attributes in the deck. But if I want to actually use Full Meteor Impact's effect, Splat and Ancillor make a better low-level core to actually be able to get out the monster that I'm trying to summon, which is the Full Meteor Impact. Double Doom, and we can just go ahead and die here. Perfect lethal, and we move on to the next game. How do I get level 7 to a level 7 Ancillor without splat? The skill boosts Ancillor's level by 1 to enable specifically the ability to activate our skill, or the Road Magic. Splat is kind of just such an underwhelming card that it's probably worth running Seven Sword Magician anyway. It also could be a good idea to put in a couple of Recovery Force, which I'm not currently doing, because then we would have more access to cards on later turns. So as you can see, this hand is completely unusable. Not looking great. You know what, actually, I think it's pretty... We don't normally do this, but we are just going to go ahead and surrender right off the bat. And we'll head to the next game. We are running a lot of spells and traps alongside a relatively healthy number of tribute monsters, so bricking is fairly common. There's definitely not enough data on this deck to know what I should be doing with it to start my experimentations. So my list is probably really bad, on top of it already being a suboptimal deck. This hand is looking much better, but it is a 4th Luke player in a row. Alright, this time we do have a ton of options here, so we're going to set 1, and we're actually going to summon the Answer in attack mode. The thought process is that with Widespread Ruin and Call of the Earthbound, it should be pretty difficult for them to actually out this monster. So let's see what they do. Resonance and Ancient Forces are super common, absolutely. And it's for a good reason. When we get to stage 2 of the festival, I will be playing Resonance myself. So if they don't summon Dragonic Slayer, we are actually in a really good spot. Bunker Strike is fine with me. That is a little bit of hand filtering. But so far they're not really even threatening damage to me. And with Widespread Ruin, if we weaken their board, we do have a pretty good shot of just being able to go in for a ton of damage next turn. They go to the bottom of the deck, so they are probably filtering for those pressure combo pieces. Or it was just a bunch of high levels. Let's see what other monsters they summon out. Setting a card, not bad. This is fantastic. They only played 1 monster, and if they go into the battle phase, they are going to leave a wide open field. As, of course, we are going to activate this Widespread Ruin. How good if it's called Earthbound against Dragace, it's pretty meh. Yeah, it's probably not great. The idea is that you can redirect attacks from non-Dragace boss monsters onto just about anything else. And you can also move the Dragius onto your own 2500, so they crash, and... Oh, I forgot to put a fire monster in the graveyard. That is whatever. Let's go ahead and use Axel Wonder Splat. Boost up this one. Mystic Dealer. Cycle. Oh, and we find Full Meteor Impact, which is pretty funny. We could summon it out, but that wouldn't be lethal, so instead I'm just going to go ahead and set even more cards. Dealing 400 doesn't seem worth it unless this is pulling up on lethal. So this is 5,200. Right? No. 3,500, 4,500, 5,000, 5,300. Yeah, so it'd be just short. Okay. I think we can battle. Oh, I could have reincarnated for Torna and dealt an additional 600. Okay. So I did miss out on playing Torna over the Mystic Dealer here with my monster reincarnation, but they would have been fine with exactly 100 life points, so I don't mind this. Keeping a fire monster in hand alongside a road magic is a way we can make a clean victory on the next turn. And if we played it better, I think we would have actually just won the game outright, as we would have had an extra card with the road magic. So we see the sports dragons coming out, and presumably, oh, Oh, are they just going to Bunker Strike a second time? If so, their hand might be really bad. Welcome, Dill Conway. Hope you're doing well today. What have you all been up to since the last stream? It's been a bit just cause my weekends are usually pretty busy, and then it takes me a day or two to recover afterwards. Another bottom of the deck Bunker Strike. Let's see, so they've got 3 cards. They did have the Sports Dragons earlier, so they could make a pretty simple double boss board here. Twin Edge Dragon actually not. Oh, I thought it was Triad Drago. But here comes a Dragonic Slayer to pop one of my cards. We do still have a Call of the Earthbound, which we can something if I want to. Ultimately, I don't think it really matters what they swing into here. I might want to protect Axel Wondersplat if possible, though, as then I can just immediately Road Magic Explosion. So if they attack anything else first, this is perfect. We do not activate, and then if the Slayer attacks into Splat, we will redirect it away. And they do. Okay, so first, Call of the Earthbound. Make them destroy the Mystic Dealer, and now we can just use Splat's effect, and then Road Magic Explosion for 800 damage. And that is game. So we did actually manage to get one victory with the deck. If we can get another one, I think we do rank up because we are still in silver. I'm pretty sure you only need 2 wins. So we'll see how it goes. Because gold is 3 in a row, or win 2, lose 1, win 2. From what I can remember. At least that has been my experience. We are up against a silver rank 5 player. Oh, and it looks like they are a bit of a rush enthusiast. Mimi e Mimi. And we are up first, which is nice because it'll give us more turns to set up the board. We are looking for like a trap card. Music Princess's Recital, perfect. And they aren't playing Roa or Luke, so the Music Princess's Recital actually becomes a lot stronger here. I think we Doriado, set 3, and then it's actually not too unreasonable to go into the full Meteor Impact with the protection of the trap card. Since it should be relatively difficult for them to actually clear this board. We'll see how it goes. All my decks apart from Psychic and the Icefire Dragons. What kind of Psychics are you playing, Rafflesia? Because Psychic is definitely not a deck I've had a ton of success with. But okay, here comes Dragius. And this is probably going to be a Disco Fever. However, none of these monsters are able to actually beat my full Meteor Impact. And with Music Princess's Recital, Dragius' second attack is blocked and their turn ends. So now we have the full Meteor Impact already on board, ready to defeat Dragius. They also don't have any back row, which is fantastic for us. Let's start by bringing out the Fire Golem, and then Ancillor. After that, the skill is going to provide a nice buff for us, boosting Ancillor to level 7, and setting a Road Magic Explosion onto the field, while also recycling Fire Golem. Then we can summon the Dark Sorcerer. Welcome, Zafallen. Nice to see you again. Hope you've had a good day. So let's go ahead and activate the Road Magic Explosion, discarding our Fire Golem to inflict 1200. Then we set this. We can use Full Meteor Impact to trade in, but I'd much rather just use Answer. So we go here, trading. Then we go into this, and we clear the full board while also having a Road Magic set up for next turn. Usually, Road Magic is going to be hitting for at least 1200 damage. Oh, congrats on the King of Games. What variant of Psychics are you running? I know a lot of people are on the new Hangry Roman skill, but Psychic Drive and Climax Beat also do have their own advantages. Alright, so we see Thunder the Thunder, Curry Bot. Probably gonna go into another 2500 attack point monster that's able to beat the Full Meteor Impact. I would not be surprised to see a lone Dragius as the end board here. Oh, but it's actually a summoned Skull. Interestingly, they cannot beat my Dark Sorcerer, which is pretty good for my lifespan. Okay, so the new one. Curemaster Dion Keto, shuffling 2 monsters back into the deck for 1000 additional life points. However, they haven't come across any Seahorse carriers, so they aren't getting as much value as they could have out of the skill. The 1000 life points does make burning them down with Road Magic a little bit harder. And Alan, I'll go ahead and show off the deck after this game. This is the Road Magic Explosion archetype, if you can call it that. It's like Explosion Drive or Explosive Drive. Okay, so we start with Wolfang here. Then Ansler. Next up, we activate the skill. Explosion Drive, boosting Ansler's attack, setting the Road Magic, and adding Full Meteor Impact to the hand. You know, I think I misplayed this. I probably could have gotten both Road Magic explosions off and won the game. If I had summoned the Splat instead of the Ansler, I would have had another Fire-type monster in my hand. And that would have been very convenient. So things are a little bit more awkward now, as I could have left them at just 100 life points. I am going to just go ahead and summon the Splat instead of trying to high roll into a fire monster, but actually maybe I don't. You know what? We go for the high rolls. We will simply draw a fire monster. See, it's easy. Road Magic Explosion for another 1600, and now we have to deal just 100 damage to win the game. We swing into Thunder the Thunder, and even if they can stop this, our Dark Sorcerer will do the same. We swing into the Kanon for a perfect lethal. And I somehow managed to clear this with only 1 or 2 losses. We are going to save this replay and go delete the other one. And we will move on to the next deck after I remove the replay and show the deck list we used for this. Alright, so replays, we have an old Explosion Drive we can get rid of. And then let's go to Yuga and show off the deck. So if we go here, so the skill is Explosion Drive. I did actually make a video on this way back during the first format, but basically it locks you to spellcasters and rock monsters. But the only relevant rock monster is the Full Meteor Impact. And then basically you buff a fire monster by 500 and increase the level by 1. This allows Full Meteor Impact to reach 3000 attack, capable of beating over opponent 2500s even with the barrier. It's a really relevant boost for Full Meteor Impact in this format. The other part, the level increase, allows Answer to become level 7. The reason this is important is because Road Magic Explosion requires you to have a face-up level 7 spellcaster on the field in order to use it. The second part of the skill lets you cycle your Road Magic Explosion onto the field to add a fire monster from your graveyard back to the hand. This, of course, is meant to be used to then be discarded for the Road Magic and deal anywhere from 400 to 2400 damage to the opponent. So our deck list, we run 3 Axel Wonder Splat, as it has an ability to boost itself to level 7 or higher, enabling Road Magic Explosion. Similarly, we have Ansler, which gets boosted to level 7 with a skill. Full Meter Impact is our way of dealing with opposing high-level monsters. You very rarely actually use the effect, but if the opponent establishes a multiple boss board, it is pretty strong. One Torna allows us to deal with those high attack, 0 defense boss monsters, and also get around set 3 pass turns. Though, it should be noted that this deck is stronger against defensive decks, as if they repeatedly just set a bunch of cards, Road Magic Explosion is going to deal a ton of damage. For the skill, we are also running Fire Golem and Wolf Fang as additional fire targets. Mystic Dealer, of course, for the consistency, Dark Sorcerer as your generic 2500, Monster Reincarnation to get back one of your monsters that you need to either use Road Magic or trigger the skill. The other 2 limit 3 slots are for Call of the Earthbound to redirect Dragius into a 2500 or to redirect other monsters away from them. So you can protect your Full Meter Impact from a card like Seven-Sword Magician into your defense position, Doriado, and keep it around for another turn. Lastly, Music Princess's Recital. We have a lot of tribute monsters in this deck that aren't super strong, only 1600 or 2000, so the barrier isn't that useful. Instead, we opt for the Recital in order to protect those monsters where attack debuffs wouldn't do it. Overall, this deck has probably gotten a bit better going into the new format, as players are setting spell and trap cards, and that means they are also establishing less powerful boards much more frequently. And Road Magic Explosion can take advantage of that slowed down gameplay to inflict big burn damage on consecutive turns and close out the game. Next up, we're going to transition from Road Magic Explosion to Road Magic Tempest. So our next deck is going to be Tempest Drive. 3 copies of Bender Break, which is mostly here just because it is the box you are. 2 Beast Summoners that can bring out Bender Break, the full Beast Engine, and the big part about this deck is that Tempest Drive is a straight +1. A face-up wind attribute monster gains attack, and you get a free Road Magic Tempest or a free search for a wind monster. So you can go +1 3 turns in a row. Of course, setting the Road Magic Tempest does actually enable Bender Break. So let's see if we are able to get any wins with it. You could go ahead and try slotting in Spell Archer to have another wind attribute monster, but we run the All-Seeing White Tiger and our boss Bender Break as triggers for the skill. It is a little bit inconsistent with only 6 wind monsters though, so I could definitely see Spell Archer coming into play as another way to increase the chance of actually using the skill. We could also be running Torna as a wind monster. We actually really should be doing that. I was running Splat as another 7, but we are going to put in Torna for sure here. Where is it? 1600. Here we go. Save it, and let's head into ranked. We got to Silver 5 with the first deck, so now we are going for Gold 1 with Tempest Drive. Let's queue into it and see what happens. Alright, I definitely missed some chat during the last game, so let's just catch up real quick. People getting excited for the Fire top deck, I see. Raphalesia's Psychic deck list. Okay, Phantom Bind is an interesting choice. Why Phantom Bind over the Psychic exclusive trap, the Severing Psychic Wall? Oh, welcome, Alpacalypse. I find myself having a lot of trouble with the ratios on the Explosion deck. I was only just trying it for a couple of games. We did definitely brick one game entirely. And I could definitely see it trying to get in of potential issues. Okay, so this hand is pretty awful. Oh, and we can't even be Summoner because they don't have a level 6 or higher monster on the field. We are going to lose this game because I did not read my card. Luckily, we did just hit the rank, so losing doesn't actually have an impact since our win streak, we do have a couple of trap cards, namely the Widespread Ruin to protect us here. But it is probably not going to be enough when we already have 2 level 7s in our hand, and I've accidentally just thrown away one of the only ways we have to successfully cheat it out. There are no beasts in the graveyard, so the beast engine is not live, and unlike Seahorse Carrier, Pikachu has to be the only monster on the board, so we're not going to be able to set it up either. Unless we draw something really specific like Monster Reincarnation, and actually even then we wouldn't be able to do it. A, because we're not running Monster Reincarnation, and B, because we need 2 beasts in the graveyard already. We see a Telepathic Agent, being boosted to set up that Heavy Metal. Then Growl comes out, and they are going to... we're down to 100, I suppose. Luckily, their hand was pretty bad. We keep Widespread Ruin around, because it seems like it should be much more relevant on a future turn. This is just not playable. Let's just pass. We need to wait until we draw another low-level monster to play this Tiger, as if we just draw 1 card every turn, we don't get anywhere. Here, the Widespread Ruin is probably going to stop more damage than it did last time, which is why I saved it. I want to get rid of a card like Heavy Metal rather than just a Growl. Though, if I did use the Widespread Ruin, I would have had 2 monsters capable of, actually summoning the Bender Break. We do have to Widespread Ruin here, unfortunately. And we will destroy this Growl. So ultimately, I probably should have protected the monster since we knew we had a pretty bricky hand. But it's fine. Let's go ahead and summon out 1 and 2. Then we Bender Break. And we could theoretically just Tribute Set it, as I don't think this deck runs any ways to get over a 2500 defense point wall, which is very funny. So let's just kind of wait it out and see what happens. Set 1, set 2, and pass. They aren't able to Growl it because it's face down. Heavy Metal can't pop it because it's face down. Psychic Trap isn't good if your monster gets put into defense or if your boss gets popped. Yeah, that makes sense. So if you're running against a lot of Dragon decks, specifically Ancient Forces, it's going to bring up to 2800, which beats the 22s even after the 500. And obviously Dragonic Resonance is pure dragon. So here comes Royal Rebels, Heavy Metal. And like I said, it's a 2500, unable to clear Bender Break the Conqueror. They take 700 damage, and we draw for turn. And we draw a Beast Summoner. Not bad. How do we want to play this? I could actually use the Bender Break right now, which seems like a reasonable play. Let's go ahead, Bender Break, send 1 and 2 to the graveyard. And that's going to weaken Heavy Metal significantly. Then we can Beast Summoner, activate the effect, special summon out another Bender Break, probably in attack mode this time. Then I think we do need to play a monster in order to actually activate the skill. Tempest Drive, we boost All-Seeing White Tiger, and set Road Magic Tempest onto the field. Unfortunately, we can't use the effect again just yet. I could summon the 7-Zone Magician here, but maybe I should have kept one of the Call of the Earthbounds around. But then I wouldn't have been able to debuff the heavy metal, so it's really tough to say for sure. This is slightly better against opposing heavy metals, but that's 600 plus 1300. That's already game anyway. I think we just kind of go in and just admit defeat, basically. Bum, bum, bum. Alright, so Widespread Ruin is going to take out one of our Bender Breaks. That makes sense. I should have played it differently so I could have destroyed the Growl. Another misplay. This was my first game with this deck in a while. So the misplay here was I should have taken out the Growl first because the Tiger would have been able to deal with the heavy metal. Rocker coming out. And that should be game.
Game over.
What is my deck for speed? So I play Lunalight, but I haven't got into the pickup box that has all of the new cards, so it's pretty scuffed. I mostly play Rush, so it's not a huge deal to me, but like I don't think I've ever grinded past basic gold rank in speed duels since the very first few months that Duel Links came out. Rocker adding back a heavy metal, probably. Oh, just another Growl to swing in. Reduce me to 0. Guarantee that game. Because they know I have Tempest. So, I'm not going to be able to do anything against this. But we will go ahead and try again. Definitely misplayed a lot here. It's possible we could have won this game. If I had played it a bit differently. Let's see what we go up against in the next battle. It's a Yuga. First Yuga I'm pretty sure we've seen today. Lots of Lukes, a Mimi, and a Roa. Alright, so we are up second. Oh, and they are on Rush on Seven's Road. We should be able to win this one since they are using the actual starter skill. Which is impressive that they made it to silver. Oh, okay, they played no cards, so they must be grinding, something out. Mystic Dealer. Let's try to search for another low-level monster. We just find another 7-zone Magician. We can go for maximum damage because I'm pretty sure they aren't playing any cards. Let's go ahead and use the 7-zone Magician and swing in for that 3,300. And unless we were getting baited, we should win on the next turn. Currently, we are in just silver. These are my first ranked games. So I deranked from King of Gold to a silver 4. And now we are getting our way back up. I forgot I can just swing with the 7-zone Magician. Don't need to summon anything else. I will send them the nice, and we can go on to the next battle. Ba bum bum bum. Alright, and that was a really quick queue. Oh, that person is using the same icon that someone not too long ago was. Alright, so this is the rank up match for both of us. Welcome, Diavolos. Okay, my hand is not looking great. If we draw a wind monster, we are going to be able to summon it, use the skill, use Road Magic Tempest to search out a new wind monster, and then we can play from there. They are setting a bunch of cards and passing, presumably. We'll see if a tribute common comes out. Clear Ice Dragon. Probably not a bad idea to set up that Ancient Arise Dragon as soon as possible. We luckily do have a Widespread Ruin, and this deck is very unlikely to be running Dragonic Slayer. So, let's see what we draw. Pocket Pikachu, unfortunately not going to really get us there. Let's just go ahead and set a few monsters. If we were going first, we would have been able to set 5 and pass, which would have been really nice. But unfortunately, we do not. This deck probably only runs 1 copy of Dragius though, so the odds of them being able to break through 3 defense position monsters is relatively low. And with our Road Magic Tempest, once we manage to actually activate it, we'll be able to clear out their board, as cards like Dragius only have 1500 defense. We do have a Widespread Ruin as well, so we are in a much better spot than it seems, staring down cards like Dragius. That said, they can avoid the Widespread Ruin by activating the Ancient Forces skill, but we still won't take any damage to our life points, which is great. There is actually an argument as well to potentially save the Widespread Ruin for a later turn. For instance, the Ancient Arise Dragon is a 3k beater, which is probably more important to clear out than a Dragius, but I like keeping my life points high enough here to not get blown up. Do I play Master Duel? I played some basic Eldritch when it came out, but it has been a while, so I'll go with no. Pocket Pikachu going to give us an extra card here. Let's go ahead and put the other Pocket Pikachu into the deck. Then grab Gazelle. Next up, we White Tiger. And we can activate the skill, boosting it up to a 1700. And searching a wind monster. We set Road Magic Tempest, and we add a monster to hand. Road Magic Tempest lets us send a wind monster to the graveyard to use the effect, so maybe we just grab a Bender Break here. Though we could also just summon it out and debuff that Dragius a pretty significant amount. However, I think this play is probably the better one. Getting a full field of monsters is probably better than the 2-boss field. Summon out Gazelle. Tempest, ditch a Bender Break. And then we can change you and you to defense position. Again, we are potentially missing out on some damage here, but it is very safe against opposing battle traps. So we want to start with All-Seeing White Tiger into Dragius. We only have 1 beast in the graveyard, but the barrier is going to be enough for it to survive this attack. That is fine with me. Seven's Magician is still going to take it down. And we clear the board. Moving on to the next turn. Unfortunately, Ancient Arise Dragon is well set up here. And they are going to be able to destroy the 7-Zone Magician if they bring it out. I'm pretty sure they had some cards in hand last turn. And a double boss monster board is going to be pretty brutal for us. If they are able to do it. A tournament that loved its £10. Oh, if it's Master Duel, yeah, I probably don't have the ability to compete in that. Alright, so we do see the Icy increase, and they are going to shuffle those monsters back into the deck. Popping the 7's Road, and then being able to attack for a ton of damage. They set 2, but is that actually what they're doing? Or is it time for a second Tribute Summon? And it is! Dragius comes out and, even if this isn't game, it is very close to it. I appreciate you letting me know about it. Lorenzo. I also still need to actually participate in one of these Rush Duel tournaments one of these days. But I've always been busy on the days that I hear about them. This is not looking great. Let's start with Pikachu. Activate the effect. We will return Pikachu into the deck one more time. Grab ourselves an all-seeing white tiger. We pop down the tiger, and we can use the skill. Tempest Drive boosts our monster, and sets a Road Magic Tempest straight from the deck. Thinning it out, one more card. Next up, Beast Summoner, and 7's Road Magician. 1 and 2. Let's go ahead and activate this effect. 3600, so we are able to beat this, and then we do need to Road Magic Tempest to switch the Dragius into defense mode so that the tiger can defeat it. We will set Call of the Earthbound, which might be able to save us, but probably not. And then we swing and swing. What deck do I find the most frustrating? Probably none of them. Unlike most Yu-Gi-Oh streamers, I actually do just enjoy playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Hashtag not like the other girls. So Burning Blaze Dragon, that's 2800. That is game. Even if I call the Earthbound to force it onto the 7's Road Magician, that is going to be enough to wipe out my remaining life points. Bum 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 bum. I'll do what I can, inflict that final 300 before closing out the game with Clear Ice Dragon into the all-seeing white tiger. Send them over a nice. And unfortunately, that was a rank up game we lost, but we'll go back in and try again. It is silver rank, so we are basically guaranteed to eventually win 2 in a row out of pure sheer luck. Ba-bum. Alright, up against the first Gokto of the day. Looks like they are in a rank up game. Makes sense because we are in silver. We open, not the best. And do keep in mind, our only win so far was against an opponent who literally did not play any cards. Right, so they start with presumably an Umagumi, which is a 0 defense monster. This hand is not looking great. We are going to do our best either way though. See if we can't break through a couple of these monsters. And all we can do is pass turn and try to draw something better next time. There's a pretty good argument for setting 2 monsters, but I figured against a Gokto, cards like Piercing Samurai and Kime Ruler are really likely to punish defense position plays, especially if I let them have a full 8 cards to play with here. Kime Ruler coming up, so that is going to either swing in with the celerity, or they can just beat over normally. Road Magic Tempest here, also very weak against this deck, because their boss monsters actually have high defense stats. Most other decks in the game will have monsters with significantly lower defense point values. 7's Road Magician and Dragius being 1500 is actually pretty high for the era they came out in. As you can see, cards like Dragonic Slayer, Hall of the Psychics, Royal Bubbles Heavy Metal, all of them have 0. Okay, this is looking really bad. All-Seeing White Tiger. Let's go ahead, activate Tempest Drive. Boost this up, and we set the third Road Magic Tempest. We can Silver Wolf, I guess. Activate the effect. Weaken this. But then what? I think we do just go ahead and Tribute set once again. 2500 is a tough nut to crack. We could have used a Tempest after summoning 7-Zone Magician, but it doesn't actually do anything for us. I hate the road deck just because of being hit for the big... Yeah, so if you ever get hit by the 5000 damage heavy metal, I can definitely see you coming away from that a little upset. Of course, cards like Rocker do disable the direct attacks, but sometimes you draw a hand like Dragius plus Recital. But Recital doesn't work if they just destroy your monster. Piercing Samurai coming in, but they actually are not going to be able to destroy Bender Break, as it has 2500 defense. They're going to need some kind of attack buff, like a Speedy Performer. Though it is entirely possible they do bring one out. Bonded Bowing, switching Yami Ruler to defense mode, and then, of course, Kime Ruler going to try to swing in after a delay directive. Masaki comes in, and this is fine with me. I cannot summon out my big monster next turn, but it should be okay. Unfortunately, Tempest does not set them in defense mode. And I was really kind of just hoping to see a Beast Summoner here to bring out the second Bender Break. In any case, let's go ahead and activate our Bender Break here. We send 2 cards to the graveyard, and we will weaken this Yami Ruler. I figure that's the one that makes the most sense to remove from the board. We can go ahead and set up our field for later. Set the Widespread Ruin, change this to attack mode, and we have our own trap to defend us. Even if we get Dark Ruler Battle Slash, they are going to destroy one of them, but hopefully they hit the Tempest. Nope, they do run into the Widespread Ruin, but we managed to clear one of their monsters, so it's not all bad. Maybe on a future turn, Road Magic Tempest will come in and save us. Setting a monster, but presumably getting ready to tribute it off. And here it comes, another Yami Ruler. Once again, being able to delay directive, and with the spell card as well. One thing to note is that they are only at 10 cards left in the deck. And this is still a very low damage turn from my opponent. Megumi isn't out now though. 2 of my Bender Breaks that are in attack position, or in defense position. And I can't tribute set again next turn either. As there is a second Yami Ruler on the board. So I'm not entirely sure what we are going to do here. Call the Earthbound, not good enough. And with just 1 low level, they are able to beat through it and deal enough damage to end the game. So I have no choice but to end my turn and let them swing in and beat me up. That said, I am actually considering doing a bit of a rework for this deck. Making it more of a spellcaster deck with a beast engine. So let's go ahead and jump into the deck editor and I'll show you all what I mean. Queue out of this, send them over the nice, and we will go to editing. My plan is to use the ability to search for wind monsters to get more consistent access to Torn of the Windweaver. And basically turn off the Beast Summoners. We aren't going to bother with cards like Bender Break as much, but we are going to run more wind. So if we go to Filter, we have Beasts and Spellcasters. And Wind Monsters, Spell Archer is a trigger for the skill. Remove a Call of the Earthbound, giving us room for a second Torna. Perfect. A couple of 7-Sword Witch for those 7-Sword Magicians. would it be nice. And then 2 Spell Archer is probably fine. We'll cut down to just 1 Bender Break. Oh, but we need more wins so we can actually use the effect. So 3 Spell Archer, and let's cut the Wolf Fang. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tributes. That's plenty. That is plenty. Any trap cards? Maybe recitals would be useful here. Bum, 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 bum. We could argue for the barrier since we have 7-Zone Magician, and that does let 7-Zone Magician beat cards that it otherwise wouldn't, but I'm not really gonna go for it. I think we just take out Call of the Earthbound entirely. Alright, let's try this out. So the idea is if we draw Road Magic Tempest, we are able to turn those into cards like Torn of the Windweaver and just manipulate the opponent into winning with our 7-Zone Magician as the main boss of the deck. Let's go ahead and give it a shot, see if we can manage to make it work for 2 games in a row. Bum 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 ba-dum bum. Alright, and we are up first this time. We actually do have access to a Bender Break. So I think we do All-Seeing White Tiger, so we can activate the skill, get one of our Road Magic Tempests out of the deck. We'll take the Prismatic one. Then we will set a card, set the Bender Break, and then set the Recital as well. You could argue keeping one of the All-Seeing White Tigers in hand as it would let me trigger the skill again next turn, while also enabling the Music Princess's Recital for Bender Break to be very safe. I think keeping it in hand may have been the better play. Ultimately, it does kind of depend on what they bring out. Darkness Crested Hawk is not going to be able to clear Bender Break, so we are actually fine. We get to draw our full 5 cards next turn, and they are going to take 400 damage. And Rafflesia, I have noticed my internet is working as well, but I didn't want to say anything in case I jinx it. Okay, so Spell Archer is a potential trigger card for the skill. Do we Mystic Dealer? I don't think there's a real need to. So we will go 1 and 2. Actually, okay. So then Spell Archer, activate the effect. Tempest Drive, set this. Set the Road Magic Tempest. Oh, but we don't have a wind monster in hand. Oh, but we don't need to because we're not using it that way. We're flipping over Bender Break. Oh, it's not the number of monsters they control. It's the number of face-up monsters. I thought they had 3 monsters, so I needed 3 spell or traps, but that is not how this card works. Once again, getting punished for not reading my cards. In any case, this should be a pretty clean way to clear out the opponent's board. Though if they are on Voltcondor, we have a huge debuff coming to my side of the field in the very near future. Here comes Ghost Cyclone. They should have at least 3. Oh, and they even destroy the Music Princess's recital. I think they know the other 2 cards are Tempest, so they were able to just perfectly snipe the trap card. Dark Sorcerer coming out, and one more set. The 500 damage is not a big deal at all. And here I would actually like to use my Road Magic Tempest to get those monsters into attack position. Let's send Torna away and flip both monsters. Simultaneously, we are going to switch Dark Sorcerer to defense mode as it has 0. This isn't working out wonderfully for us, but we can still establish a pretty strong board. We summon out a Puck Pikachu, bring out the second 7-Zone Magician, and followed up with a Gazelle. Then we Elemental Road twice, providing some pretty significant buffs to our monsters. So even with a widespread rune, we are going to clear out both copies of Thunder the Thunder. And then Dark Sorcerer should go down as well. We have plenty of life points remaining, so hopefully this goes well. I think Voltcondor isn't very good. Beast Summoner helped considerably, but the deck still struggles. I agree. And that is why Voltcondor is actually the deck I plan on playing next after we hit gold. Today is the bad deck stream, so Voltcondor has to make an appearance. Monster Reincarnation coming out, but luckily I don't believe they have seen a Voltcondor. So they might go ahead and grab a Darkness Crested Hawk, but that's only buffing itself by 1,000, not too crazy. Oh, and here comes a Beast Summoner. However, if they do use the Beast Summoner, they aren't able to use the skill. And that's why we see them summoning the Darkness Crested Hawk with 2 tributes normally. I become light, and they boost up. Story Auto in the graveyard. And now they are at 3,100. Dark Sorcerer coming out, and another set card. We know the first one was a trap, but they saved it for later. So it's probably something that doesn't make a difference if there's a large difference in attack points. And this hand is looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and summon the Mystic Dealer. Summon the Witch. Oh, but we have to win this turn. Otherwise, we are going to deck out. 7-Zone Witch, activate the effect, discard Gazelle, and special summon 7-Zone Magician to the field. Oh, I guess we do actually get one more turn, as we are going down to 6, and then 5 cards in deck. I set Widespread Ruin, and we battle. Let's see if it works. Widespread Ruin does pop 1 7-Zone Magician. So what is the other trap card? Can they stop my second attack? The barrier is not enough, and we get a victory. Sorry that the skill did not work out the way you intended, Rafflesia, but it's an easy fix. This was a pretty good game, so I'll go ahead and save that replay. We got some value out of Thunderbreak, and we got some value out of the Road Magic Tempest. So it's a good highlight of what the deck can do. If we can win the next one, we should be able to go up to Gold 1, and then finally switch over to Voltcondor. I am a free-to-play player, so I don't have the full access to the deck. And the deck is already bad, so running with only 2 copies of each of your most important boss monster is going to make it even worse. I'm really excited to see if we are able to get into Gold 2 with it. 2 Yugas, duking it out. Alright, here comes a rank up game. We open pretty poorly, but all openings are poor openings when you're playing this deck. I think we just want to see a boss monster of some variety, and we see a Wolfang. It might be a Road Magic Duel. We will see. A tribute set, so we need to expect that to be 1,700, as there are a couple of different spellcasters that can do it. All-Seeing White Tiger, followed by activating the skill. Tempest driving it up to 1700 ourselves, setting Road Magic Tempest onto the field, and then we can add a wind monster to hand. Torna makes sense since it lets us actually like rotate a monster, but it is also kind of dangerous. Still, I think this has to be the right play. We could go for Bender Break and then just kind of set it. And with a recital, that's actually probably not too bad. But if this is 7's Axel Road, they can easily get 2 monsters strong enough to beat over our board. So we are going to go with Torna here. And we're going to leave whatever monster they tribute set for later. Well, because if it's a 7-toed witch, we don't want them getting out the magician for free. But I'm just gonna go this way because it opens up a much more aggressive line that can deal significantly more damage. We swing in 1400, and then let's see if we run into any Music Princess recitals or if they just let this attack through. Phantom Bind, interesting. Definitely a bit of a preemptive use of the Phantom Bind here, as dealing 200 extra damage is almost certainly not worth it. Welcome, Ghost Rider. Yeah, we are running the Road Magic Tempest Wind deck. Torna is a must run in Spellcasters due to the ability to poke for damage against set 3. Yeah, I agree, it is pretty strong. We actually see the opponent bringing out their own Torna here. And it is a 7's Axel Road deck. So we'll see what they go for. We do have the ability to redirect an attack, or to negate an attack here. And we definitely will be doing that. Keeping Torna alive is actually really important, as it means next turn we are going to be able to switch the opposing Torna to defense mode if we don't end up using the road magic. Okay, so we have a Pakachu, but unfortunately we drew no wind monster, so this Road Magic Tempest is not able to convert into another wind monster. We just summon out 2, 7's Own Magician, 1 and 2. Then let's Torna. Ditch the road magic that we're not able to use. Switch that to defense mode. Set a card, Elemental Road. And we will do our best to clear out this Axel Wonder Splat. If they have the Widespread Ruin, they have it. Phantom Bind, definitely not going to be enough. So then we swing in. And the barrier, also not enough. They are just recycling their monsters so they can be more likely to activate the skill next turn. I think it's good in any deck that isn't locked. Yeah, a lot of decks, of course, are competing for the limit 3 slot with something like a Dragius. But if you have the ability to run Torna, I would say go for it. So Recovery Force coming down. They are putting in all of their cards. Perhaps they are looking for another low level. Wolfang comes out. And then what is going to be next? Fire Golem weakening the defense of one of my monsters. But do they have another Torna? And if they do, it doesn't matter, because 1500 would have been low enough for them to have it work anyway. I think we might be seeing the classic play of the opponent not knowing how Fire Golem functions. Dark Magician coming out, and Dark Magic attack to clear the Widespread Ruin from the board. What a punish. Luckily, once again, they are unable to clear my own Torna, though this time there's not really anything I want to swap the position of. I draw for turn, and what do we get? Nothing crazy. Silver Wolf is able to debuff, but only by 200, and that is not enough. We definitely have to Mystic Dealer here, and maybe try to find something else. Mystic Dealer, let's ditch the Spell Archer and see what we draw. Another Spell Archer. We'll summon out the Torna so we can activate our skill. activating Road Magic Tempest. We'll buff this to 2000 and set the Road Magic from our hand to the field. And then also let us add Fender Break. Oh, if we added the White Tiger and tributed here over it, we could have brought out Tiger and Silverwolf, debuffed this to 1900, and then actually beaten over the Dark Magician. However, instead we are just going to go ahead and bring Fender Break into our hand, set Spell Archer, set the Bender Break, as 2500 defense is actually a pretty formidable stat line. And maybe we keep the Silver Wolf for later. We are kind of running low on cards in the deck. And the debuff could be handy. But ultimately, I think summoning it might be stronger. We are trying to dig for a 7-zone Magician to close out the game. So we go ahead and pass turn. My opponent has a lone Dark Magician, but they have revealed that they are running Dark Magic Attack. They could go for another one to completely destroy my back row once again. Dark Sorcerer. Still currently not an out, technically. 7's Road Witch. That is, even if they don't have the 7's Road Magician in hand, they are able to search for it via the skill. However, they did forget to boost the 7's Road Witch up to 2800, which is pretty convenient for my lifespan. I guess it doesn't matter too much though. Well, yeah, it's a 300 damage savings. And of course, the Conqueror is going to be defeated by 7's Road Magician. So, going into my turn, I'm basically just looking to swing into 7's Road Witch for a cheeky victory. Okay, this isn't too bad. Mystic Dealer coming out, tribute it off for the 7's Road Witch. Activate the effect, and we can summon 7's Road Magician. Next up, Elemental Road, see how big of a boost we get. So 3600, you can see that's 2000, theoretically a win if we can connect the attack. Road Magic Tempest can switch a monster to defense mode, but ultimately I don't think we need to do that. They also haven't used their own Widespread Ruin yet, which is really threatening. Let us set the White Tiger and battle. And then I think we just go in and see if we are able to do it. 1500, and that is game. It was a close one, but that set card was probably something like a Recovery Force rather than a trap card that was able to prevent any of that damage. And we rank up to gold. I will not be submitting this deck list though. Let's go ahead and swap over to Voltcondor. Like I said, I don't own the third copy of the structure deck, and we don't have any Rush UR Dream tickets. So I don't currently have any way to get a third Voltcondor or Darkness Crested Hawk, or even a Torn of the Windweaver. That said, I built something using what I could, and we'll see how it works. Once again, I'm just kind of flying by the edge of my seat, trying to figure out these lists. I didn't do a whole lot of research on what other players are bringing. We are up first. And we do actually have a play. However, using the Beast Summoner doesn't seem super necessary, as, oh, well, we can't use the Beast Summoner because it's turn 1. And they need to have a level 6 or higher monster on the field. We can set the Darkness Crested Hawk, a 30 or a 2300 body is reasonable. And we have a monster reincarnation next turn to get back the Beast Summoner if we need it. However, if we do summon Voltcondor via Beast Summoner's effect, we are not going to be able to activate our skill, which is an important part of the deck. We don't have any lights in the graveyard yet either. Oh, I think I missed something. Built Pure Spellcaster for Yuga, Pure Dragon for Luke, Pure Psychic for Roman, and Pure Warrior for Gavin. What does the Pure Spellcaster deck look like? I know 7th XL Road encourages running Spellcaster monsters, but you're allowed to run cards like Currybot and such, even with the restrictions on the skill. So here we are going to just summon out a couple of monsters. Lightning Voltcondor, 1 and 2. Luminous Parrot. Oh, I didn't, oh no. I didn't tribute the Luminous Parrot. I don't have a monster to discard. Wait, there is still a chance. I can mill a light monster. And I do it. Just barely. Let's change Summon Skull to light. Next, we can activate the skill, Lightning Shift. Change you to a light monster as well. Monster Reincarnation. Ditch the Ghost Cyclone. And we can add back a light monster. Voltcondor activates the effect, and we managed to ditch that. This was not very well planned. I definitely could have played that way, way better. If I tribute the Luminous Parrot, I could get it back with the skill, and then summon out Darkness Crested Hawk and beat over both monsters normally. I'd have a better end board, and overall just be in a better position. Call the Earthbound is here for me to redirect an attack. So let's say they summon a 7-zone Magician. I can move that attack onto the Luminous Parrot to keep Voltcondor alive to debuff their field on the next turn. Thunder the Thunder coming. But if they summon a multi-strike here, we are in trouble. Or in this case, I think we win. Call the Earthbound, swing into the Voltcondor instead. They take extra damage, and they have an empty slot. They even have 2 light monsters already on the field, which means we aren't going to be able to use our skill next turn. But all we need to do is draw a light monster, and we can debuff them. Oh, here comes a Trick Pigeon, who is fantastic. As we can ditch one of these cards we don't need, I'll get rid of the Music Princess Recital. Add the Hawk to hand. Activate Voltcondor's effect. Ditch the La Moon. Normal summon. Tribute 2, 1, and 2. Activate Darkness Crested Hawk's effect, boosting it up as well. Call the Earthbound goes down, and we head into the battle phase. Swing in 1, and they are down to 1,500. We deal 1,600. Welcome, Fate Zero. Hope you are having a nice day. What have you been up to? Need to get a playset of Currybot sometime. Are you really better than So I do think the Seahorse Carrier engine is overall more consistent, but Currybot does take up a ton less deck space. So if you're building something that is tight and on spots, but you still need some kind of advantage generator, Currybot is a good plan. What I like to do in a lot of decks is run both Currybot and the Seahorses, basically turning all of the low levels into ways to generate big boss turns. Our opening hand here, not looking great. Things could be worse though, as this is a set 5 pass turn. It is worth noting I am only running 2 copies of Beast Summoner, so that play is going to be turned off for the rest of the game, unless I go for a Monster Reincarnation. Planning on building the Noodle deck. I am a huge fan of the Noodle Ninjas. Definitely give them a shot if you can. Personally, I would recommend not actually using the Noodle Art boost and just run it with a generic skill to gain access to non-pyros and fire monsters. Alright, so Seahorse Carrier not doing anything here. Beast Summoner also not really doing anything. Our hand is kind of bricked. We can Monster Reincarnation, but this doesn't seem all that useful. Let's see, I want to summon 1 and 2. I think I'm going to do it just to clear out my hand a little bit better. They do have a level 6 monster, so I can Beast Summoner, but there's really no point. Let's go ahead and set the Seahorse Carrier. Normal summon the Darkness Crested Hawk, 1 and 2. Hawk comes out, we switch that over to a light monster. Activate Reincarnation. We will toss the Recital to grab a Beast Summoner. And we're just gonna get silly with it and go in for maximum damage. This probably is not the correct play. But I want to be really aggressive. We do have a couple of Call of the Earthbounds to force attacks onto Darkness Crested Hawk instead of my 900 attack Beast Summoners. So there is a chance this works out pretty well. We're dealing pretty significant damage. And with only 900 attack, opposing cards like Heavy Metal aren't going to be a big issue. Though with 2 copies of which, we can expect that their hand is 2 level 7 monsters that do not include 7-Zone Magician. So probably multiple copies of Dragius, which is kind of threatening, but they are bricked on high levels, so we just bring them into the Darkness Crested Hawk and win the game. They lose their only monster, and now we swing in. Basically, I had a read on their hand, and it worked out. Head into battle, and another perfect lethal. I'll go ahead and send them over the nice. But this wasn't really a great showcase of the deck, so I'm not going to go ahead and save that replay. Maybe I'll do that one. I don't really entirely remember what I did. Oh, I definitely had some misplays though. So we'll see if it goes better in the next game. Makes sense the card you always want is on the bottom. Yep, they got those desire sensors installed into the app. Alright, so let's go ahead and queue up for what could be our rank up game. Equinox is a name that seems really familiar. I think we might have faced them earlier today. We are up first. Our hand is pretty interesting. It would be nice to have seen these cards later. I would have liked just like the normal monsters for now. But it's okay. Let's just go ahead and set them all. And we'll bring out the Darkness Crested Hawk, as having 2 level 7s in hand is not optimal. We'll keep Trick Pigeon, since if it somehow stays alive, it will have the most value in being able to get back this Darkness Crested Hawk. For example, we could do like a wacky play where we discard something and maybe get out 2 boss monsters. Oh, but we see they are on Dragonic Resonance. So all they have to do is summon any level 7 monster. And my Darkness Crested Hawk is going to go down. Even Bunker Strike is enough. Dragius coming out, that is a clear of both of my monsters. And whatever low levels they have afterwards are just direct attacks going to my face. We do have a 7-Zone Magician, so we are able to beat the Dragius, assuming that that card is a Dragonic Pressure and not a real trap. However, we don't have very many different attributes in the grave right now. I think it might just be light and dark. So 2700 does leave us vulnerable to any cards like the Barrier that might show up to weaken 7-Zone Magician. We take an absolute ton of damage. And, of course, we don't draw anything super useful going into our turn. I think our best bet here is the 3100 Darkness Crested Hawk rather than 7-Zone Magician. We can activate the effect, boost it up, set this other La Moon for a little bit of safety, and then we just kind of go in, and if they have a Widespread Ruin, we just scoop it up, and then basically we do need them still to brick on low levels for a turn, so we can get back into the game. Obviously a Phoenix Dragon ends it basically right away. Another Dragius does a similar thing. Bunker Strike is going to make it super easy to clear my board. And if they are summoning Pitcher, they do have something here. Unfortunately. And it's a second Dragius, so that's 2,500 plus 400, and then with another monster. With only 0 defense, I am definitely not surviving this one. Funnily enough, if I did have a 1,400 defender, they mis-sequenced their attacks, and I would have been able to win. Or, well, survive a turn. I still would have lost for sure. And unfortunately, losing does mean we have to start over and try to rack up some wins with Voltcondor all over again. We got a pretty lucky first couple of games. Notably, we did not face Dragonic Resonance, which is always a good sign for our chances of victory. Goes up significantly when we aren't fighting a Luke. Though it is, of course, still far from guaranteed. It isn't like the dragons are the only bad matchup that Voltcondor has. Alright, this hand not looking great. Though I guess we can theoretically try to make some progress with it. 3 back row might be enough to survive for the next turn. Have a great day, Rafflesia. Thank you for stopping by. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. They are spending a lot of time over in the draw phase. Wonder if their connection is not very good. Alright, Clear Ice Dragon. Probably gonna get buffed to 2,600. And we can clear it out to prevent some damage and make our next turn better. I think I do go for it. And just kind of see what happens. We do have a Ghost Cyclone, so we are going to be able to draw an extra card. And hopefully with 6 cards, we are able to make something good start working. Ghost Cyclone getting rid of their face down for us. I would love to draw an extra card. Monster Reincarnation. Unfortunately, La Moon is not super interesting. 1 and 2. One and 2. Voltcondor comes out. We can Reincarnation for a light monster to do the debuff, or we can just save it for later, which seems just as well. I guess I should have summoned the Darkness Crested Hawk if I'm not planning to debuff though. So that's definitely a misplay. Unfortunately, these Calls of the Earthbound is still not doing anything because I only have the 1 monster on board. If we had drawn a Seahorse Carrier or a second Currybot, we could have definitely done a lot more. Or just another low level, I think. Yeah, I definitely should have played the Darkness Crested here, and then I would have been able to have Voltcondor on the next turn for a field-wide debuff, and I would have dealt more damage too. Voltcondor has the same problem as Spellcaster, where your monsters are sitting ducks to be beaten up after your turn, but unlike Spellcasters, they don't get huge attack. Yeah, it is a bit. Oh, and you see, Ancient Arise Dragon actually can destroy Voltcondor, but not Darkness Crested Hawk. So I'm definitely getting punished on a very large scale here. Bit of a yikes. Let's see what we've got. I think we have to Monster Reincarnation. Grab that Voltcondor. So we ditch a Luminous Parrot. Add Voltcondor back to hand. Seahorse Carrier, come on out. Activate the effect. Add the La Moon. Then we summon La Moon. Voltcondor. 1 and 2. Activate the skill. We do have a second Luminous Parrot in the graveyard, so we are going to be able to get it back to the hand. Luminous Parrot returns. Then we can debuff by discarding Luminous Parrot once again. Then we summon a Luminous Parrot. Beast Summoner. Activate the effect. Beast Summoner goes to the graveyard, and we grab a Darkness Crested Hawk. Finally, we activate Darkness Crested Hawk, and we can play a round. If Luminous Parrot had just 100 more attack, we could play around Widespread Ruin entirely. But instead, we're just going to make sure that it runs into Darkness Crested Hawk instead of my Voltcondor. Enter battle, and let's see what we can do. This is actually worse because it plays into Recital. I should have swung with Voltcondor first, because now I'm dealing significantly less damage to them. So I'm making a ton of misplays today. Definitely should just slow down. I do have 2 copies of Call of the Earthbound. Something else. Whether or not that's going to be enough to win the game, looking like probably not. With Phoenix Dragon, Clear Ice Dragon, Ancient Arise Dragon, or Dragias are both going to be huge. So it's looking like these Call of the Earthbounds are pretty rarely coming up, whereas Phantom Binds would actually be pretty good. So I'm going to try swapping them out after this game. Ancient Arise goes up to 3,000. Welcome back, Heather. You did indeed miss the Bender Break Gaming. Oh, wait. They missed the lethal. This is fantastic. They could have dealt 1,800, but with only 1 monster. I would have been able to redirect it, but now I get to keep my Call of the Earthbounds. Okay. Can we win with this? We don't have any spellers or traps, so we can't do anything crazy with Trick Pigeon. But we can summon a double boss board once again. Let's go ahead and Lightning Voltcondor. 1 and 2. Activate the skill. Lightning shifted up. This guy getting changed to a light attribute. And then we add Luminous Parrot back to the hand. We summon Trick Pigeon. And let's tribute them both off for Darkness Crested Hawk. Then we can summon another Luminous Parrot to have a full field. Oh, wait, no, I didn't debuff. Oh no. I forgot to activate Voltcondor's effect. That is what we like to call slightly suboptimal gaming. Yeah, dang. Oh, wait, they actually concede despite the terrible play. They did not have the trap card that saves them. We somehow stumbled our way through that. We did not deserve the win. I want to make that very, very clear. Though, actually, they did throw right at the end by attacking the wrong monster. In any case, Call of the Earthbound is coming out and Phantom Binds are going in. Let's go ahead and just queue back up. It's funny, Heather, in the process of using the deck, I did go down from 3 bender breaks to just 1. Because the idea is it is searchable, and it's not good. So if you need it, you can grab it with the skill theoretically. Alright, we are on another rank up game. Can Voltcondor take us to gold 2? We are up first, and we do have a Phantom Bind. However, I don't think that's enough for me to feel confident in summoning the 7-Zone Magician right now. We are going to pass turn. And it's important to find out if my opponent is on Resonance or Ancient Arise. Dragonite could go either way, but Sports Dragon Pitcher is a pretty heavy lean towards Resonance. Gravity Pest Dragon is fine with me. I'm mostly afraid of Dragonic Slayers, as those turn off the Phantom Bind by destroying them. So what decks have I played? I played both Road Magics. So Silver 4 was one of them, and Silver 5 was the other. Now in Gold 1, we're using Voltcondor, and if we reach Gold 2, it'll probably be Psychics up next. Okay, a Beast Summoner is pretty interesting, and we even have the Currybot. Currybot can add back a second copy. The issue is if we use Beast Summoner, we are not able to actually get our card back, or we can't activate the skill. However, that is probably worth it to get 2 level 7s onto the board. So we just go 1 and 2. My opponent does own a level 6, so Beast Summoner is able to come out and use the effect. It is important to keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and Beast Summoner. It looks like we did have a blip in the connection, but we are back. So ultimately, what do we want to do? Debuff or get the extra monster? It is a tough choice, but I am going to just go ahead and set my monster for extra protection. Let's head into the battle phase and destroy 1 and 2. End turn, and we are good to go. Thanks for anyone who stuck around during the connection blip. Sorry about that. It's been mostly behaving today, so I will forgive my internet this time. Alright, so they are setting a card. Could be anything from a Dragonic Pressure to the Widespread Ruin. If they drew 2 back row, that means they probably aren't establishing a super powerful board of monsters. Dragonic Slugger is fine, Gravity Pest Dragon, and if they want to actually destroy my monster, they are going to need to spend their last card on using its effect. However, I still have Phantom Bind. Yeah, I do not care about them destroying Luminous Parrot, so I have no reason to switch the toggle. We can keep it off safely. Trick Pigeon is an interesting one. However, do I have a good way to actually trigger it? Unfortunately, my internet appears to be acting up. I can see as I am having trouble with getting my cards out. So I don't have any spells or traps. Otherwise, I could tribute for Voltcondor, then summon the Trick Pigeon and get it out and use the skill again. Do I have an Earth monster? No, I have a Wind monster, which is pretty funny. But do I want to yeah, I'll just go for it. I think it is pretty comical. So we are going to ditch the Torna to reduce that one down to 0. Then let's just 7-Zone Magician. Summon out a 1200, and we'll go into battle and just kind of see how it goes. Try to swing in for 22. They do have the widespread ruin, which is unfortunate, but we deal plenty of damage and we might be able to take out this one. However, there is a pretty high chance it has a solid defense set. No, Phoenix Dragon goes down. Always glad to see that. And now it is time for us to actually turn on our trap cards. Of course, there is a pretty good chance of seeing a Slayer by this point. But we do have 2 different traps, and as long as one of them sticks around, I'm in a decent spot. There's only 1 non-dragon, so 800 if we keep the Phantom Bind. And it looks like we do, so they actually cannot defeat Lightning Voltcondor here, which is great to see. Oh wait, but with Gravity Press Dragon, they can. Well, I can still get in a good Phantom Bind, causing them to lose the Gravity Press Dragon. Now, all I need to do is draw a spell or trap card, and I get my Voltcondor back. Let's go ahead, draw for turn, and we find a Ghost Cyclone, which is totally fine. We can't use it anyway. We have a monster on board. Let's ditch Ghost Cyclone, grab Voltcondor, Seahorse Carrier, tribute 2 monsters, 1 and 2. Activate the skill, Lightning Shift, make this a light monster, add back the Luminous Parrot, use Voltcondor's effect, discarding that same Luminous Parrot, debuffing the opponent, then La Moon comes out, and we are good to start. Voltcondor swings in. If they're able to stop this attack, they could still win, but with only a weak Phantom Bind, that is not going to be enough. Which deck have I liked the most so far? In terms of actually thinking the deck is good, probably none of them. But I think the Tempest deck is funny, so I guess I'd vote for that one. I will go ahead and send my opponent a like, and we will move on to some kind of Psychic build. I didn't actually think I would get this far, but in under 2 hours, we have managed to rank up 3 times. Probably would have been a little bit faster if we were playing some better decks, but that is not what we are here for. Oh, looks like in the middle of all of that, the day reset. So let's go ahead and claim some stuff here. Welcome, Benext. Yeah, I think the Angry Roman makes a lot of sense. Let me see if there's anything I want to add in. I definitely need to be running Dream Drummer if I'm not already. It's been a while. It looks like I'm not. So let's go ahead and find it real quick. It has to be a level 2. Here we go. Triple Psychic type monster into the deck. But what do I take out? I guess we aren't really trying to combo with Telepathic Agent, we're trying to combo with Esperade. So it's not as important for this deck. For high levels, we just have the Prima Guitarist and the Giftarist, and the skill, of course, is going to give us more later on. It'll give us that Esperade and a second Roman pick. So we can head into the PvP arena. And let's just see how it goes. I could theoretically switch over to the Go Rush Festival. Try to do those dailies, but I'll just do that against NPCs at some point. It's pretty interesting that you don't even need to play in PvP in order to claim the daily 50 gems. Alright, we have an interesting opening hand. Speedy Performer and Kanan can be traded off for Gitarna, which means if we draw another level 7, Seahorse Carrier can bring back the Kanan and give us a double boss turn 1. However, if the opponent just sets 3 and passes, it's probably not really worth doing all of that. But if they're starting with a attack position Dragorite, suddenly it becomes a lot better. Will they have any traps for protection? They do. Interesting. Kind of depends on what we get next. And it's another low-level Aqua. So I think the right play here is Speedy Performer. Let's boost. Then we can Fumigatarna. And this is kind of very disrespectful to Widespread Ruin, but we're just gonna go ahead and buff up and start swinging. See if we can't deal tons of damage. If it's any other trap card, like a Phantom Bind, we just do not care about it. I could have used the Seahorse Carrier, but I'd rather have the fresh draws next turn. Unfortunately, Widespread Ruin does come out, and gambling was not the right play. Because now we are going to have a really underwhelming board, and we lost 1,000 life points in the process. So we barely dealt more damage than we took ourselves. I guess that might not be too bad theoretically, as with Esperade we can destroy 2 monsters and try to get in 4 game. But is that actually going to work? We do have to actually survive the turn, and with Dragius and multiple other monsters coming out, we might not do that. Setting a monster, but I would expect more tributes to be happening soon. Here comes a Gravity Fest Dragon. Dragius uses the effect, and do they have a final monster? If they're popping Resonance, it looks like they might not. Alright, so they swing in for a ton of damage. We survive with 100 life points remaining, which is not enough for us to actually use our effects, like Roman Pick. We definitely activate the skill. We need the Esperade to clear out these monsters. Monster Reincarnation, I think we also need... We can't use Fumigatarna because we don't have the life points. So we can ditch that. Grab ourselves a Seahorse Carrier. That'll get us more low-level monsters. But unfortunately, that's still not going to be enough. We can draw into an extra card here. We can summon out the Roman Pick. Tribute summon, tribute summon. Set a card, activate the effect. 1 and 2. Head into the battle phase and swing for 2,500. So if this Guitarist were just another low level, well, I guess it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, I was trying to think of ways we could have theoretically won, but oh, we can only use the 1 direct attack anyway. Anyway, all they have to do is summon any level 7, and we are done for. Here comes Dragius. And that's swing, swing, and game. I was basically hoping that by summoning out this way, there was some chance that they draw into a bunch of back row, and they can only end on a lone Dragius, but they do manage to find another monster. And maybe even more. Wait, they didn't attack. Why did they not attack? What am I missing? Oh, they didn't have the ability to trigger Resonance. That is huge. Kanon comes out. Oh gosh, I hope this is game. Wait, does this cost life points? Oh, I need another Psychic in order to use the effect. But that's okay, I think. I don't think I need the effect. This should be like just barely lethal if I'm understanding this correctly. Let's head into the battle phase. Swing. And they are at 1300. We managed to get in there just barely. So that worked out. We got very, very lucky. We survived with 100 HP and made the comeback. I'll go ahead and save that replay. I think that's probably going to be the best game we get of Psychic Drive tonight. Bum bum ba bum 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 bum. Alright, we would have loved to go first, just to set all of these cards up and set up our Seahorse carriers for later. But hopefully we'll draw into something interesting on the next turn. Let's see what my opponent goes for. They are taking a bit of time in the draw phase, so they might be a little bit distracted. I'm expecting them to just set 3 monsters, in which case we probably have to do the same. We don't have any piercing or double attackers in the deck. So Seahorse Carrier is actually pretty good. We will definitely be saving that for later. Let's go ahead and get Condor onto the field, basically ensuring we get an Aqua into the graveyard. Interestingly, we are going second, so we'll be able to theoretically draw into the combo pieces if we want to next turn. But that doesn't seem particularly useful. Dragonic Slayer, unfortunately, is going to Severing Psychic Wall us to the next dimension. Or it's going to destroy our trap, I mean. Still, though, unless Dragius comes out, huh? Well, I was kind of hoping we didn't see that, but this could work. I think we are still in it. Even though we lose our trap card, take a ton of damage, this is going to enable us to use Roman Pick if we activate this skill and bring out 2 monsters that are technically able to destroy the opponent's cards. We aren't going to be able to use Esperade's effect, but sometimes that's not what we need to do. Sometimes we just need to clear the board. So we take 2800. So unless we find a way to inflict significant damage to ourselves, and even if we did, it wouldn't be worth it, because we're not dealing 6,000 with just one option. So hopefully this Roman Pick actually hits. It does, which is nice to see. We can grab the Speedy Performer. Then we Seahorse Carrier. Activate its effect as well. We get a 1400 back. Then we Speedy Performer. Summon out the Prima Guitarna. 1 and 2. Next, we are able to use Speedy Performer on Prima Guitarna to get a nice little extra attack boost. Milling out a Giftarist, not a huge concern. Then Kanan, and we tribute the 2 of them off for Esperade. As long as they don't bring out another copy of Dragonic Slayer, we also have some protection for Esperade in the form of our trap card. Let's pay life points and head into the battle phase. We need to destroy the 2 big ones. As much as I would love to deal the extra 1,000 damage, it is not worth it. Alright, so it all comes down to this next turn. 1 Slayer is down, a Phoenix Dragon is down. Will they be able to draw another Slayer and destroy our trap card? Or will our Esperade remain safe and keep us through this game? It's all down to whatever Kimome Dado draws. Oh, sorry, Taro. Welcome back, Rafflesia. Hope you enjoyed whatever it was you were off to do. I kind of forgot if you mentioned it. Alright, so once again, my opponent is taking a while in the draw phase. I wonder if they are also streaming or talking to someone else on the side. Or maybe they're playing at work, trying to sneak in a game, and are not looking at the phone. Thinking over my plays, I did use Speedy Performer for an extra 400 damage, but Dream Drummer may have been a superior option to gain 500 life points. Though I guess I started with Roman pick, yeah, I would have been able to gain 500, which could have potentially prevented some kind of lethals, because I am pretty low. Dragonic Slayer, unfortunate. Ultimately, it looks like it doesn't matter. We were hoping for any of the other boss monsters, as 2800 into 2500 does lose to my trap card. But if they destroy it, even the 500 extra life points are not going to make a difference here. Wait, they only have one out. We are actually still alive. If we manage to draw into a life point paying card, we could win. We do find a Prima Guitarna. Okay, so Speedy Performer comes out. Activate the effect. Esperade. La Moon. Here comes another Prima Guitarna. 1 and 2. And finally, Silent Assailant. Let's pay 1,000 life points for the Rockin' Refrain, and then Esperade activates the effect. This is not the turn it was that the skill was used, so we can attack directly with as many monsters as we'd like. Let's head into the battle phase and see if we can pull it off. Swing in with Prima Guitarna. 1700, and go in for game. We once again managed to clear it out. Thank you, Akuma. So I basically just took one of the defaults from the Award Studio, and then I edited around the colors and I think maybe the hair a little bit, and then I added the little star things. So a lot of it is not my work because it's, you know, stock stuff, but I did try to put a little bit of coloring, etc. on it. Alright, so we managed to win 2 in a row with the Psychic deck. Let's see if we are able to just clean it out 3-4-3. We are up first, and this hand is not looking great. Would really like a low level, but we drop a 3rd level 7 monster. Definitely no choice but to just set the one monster we can and pass. To be clear, we are only running 6 high levels, so we just kind of drew them all at once. They are setting 3, so we actually still have a chance somehow. Despite the incredibly slow start here, now there is an issue that a heavy metal will basically just blow us completely out of the water. I could Monster Reincarnation to get a second monster onto the board here. Just for some heavy metal protection, so I'm not taking the 5,000 damage attack. Okay, yeah, I think that's the right play. Let's go ahead and ditch the Giftarist, grab the La Moon, summon out La Moon, and just head into the battle phase. Oh, okay, they are on a Royal Rebel deck. Telepathic Agent is a bit of a fake out. It's a light level 4, so it can become level 5 with the skill. So, is there actually any official Bowsette stuff? From what I understood, it was the Toadette with the crown, and then everyone was like, oh, but what if Bowser got the crown? Did they ever actually do anything to make it official? I don't think I played the game it was from, so I don't know. Growl comes out. That is going to be a way to out-gift Taurus, even with my trap card, unfortunately. But I would rather see a Growl here than a Heavy Metal, for sure. But, okay, they also have the Heavy Metal, which now brings us into some pretty, significantly dire straits. Do I activate the wall here? No, I don't think so. We should survive anyway. And we do have an... Oh, I should have used it to have that extra 500. Because 500 extra life would have been enough for us to... Primogatarna and... Roman pick. In any case, we have to go ahead and activate the skill. Draw our... Jeez. This is not looking good. Let's go ahead and Roman pick. We get a card back. Speedy Performer. We can summon it out. Bring it down the Esperade. But we still have 3 level 7s in our hand. Esperade's effect. Pops 1 and 2. And I think we basically just kind of hope they can't find anything to out a 3000 attack monster. Yeah, so Heather, there's nothing official, but that means you can make your avatar whatever you want. And it's not copyright infringement. As long as you're not like directly using the asset for the crown. If I'm playing Roman Stick, do I have the new Magic SR? No, I don't yet, because these are my first ranked games for the season. But also I'm not running the level 2 normals anyway. So I wouldn't be using the spell card in this deck either way. Heavy Drive activates, boosting the Shout to level 5. I expect that means I am about to get kind of blown to smithereens. Here comes Heavy Metal, popping the card and presumably swinging it in for 5,000 damage. This was a rank up game, but we bricked a little bit. Unfortunately, not much we could have done. Maybe I could have set monsters for longer, but we just drew all of our high levels. It happens sometimes. Nintendo did not like Bowser. Cantrip, you are probably correct, yeah. I mean, especially since, given how, like, sexualized the character was, I can imagine, Nintendo not being super on board with it. Alright, so we are first. And once again, we draw 3 level 7s. How does this keep happening? We really have no choice but to just summon a single Giftarist in attack mode and kind of just hope it works. We even lose the Roman pick here. Presumably, they are trading off. I don't know why they set 1 and summon 1 in attack, but whatever. I don't have the tickets yet. In order to get the card, you have to win, I think it's like 24 or 42 or something like that before you get the first SR ticket. So I might play some Climax Beat or something in the future that uses it, but not for now. Set 1, set 2, Prima Guitarna. 1 and 2. And the question is, do we pay the life points, or do we just try to go in and say that they don't have the relevant card? I mean, if we get widespread, the game's over either way. There's really nothing we can do here. Like I said, just a pretty bad streak of luck. It'll happen sometimes, you know, if it's a 1 in 5 chance to draw a brick hand, you'll do that 2 games in a row, 1 out of 25 times. Let's go ahead and see what they do. I'm pretty sure this is well beyond game on board. Now, I haven't actually read the attack names, but I'm pretty sure in the show, he actually switched them around. So like the Ice Dragon has some like super fire sounding name, and the fire one has an ice sounding name, but we'll see if that is right. There should be a voice line when he goes in to attack. I mean, even if they didn't ruin, I was gonna get totally blown up. I'll send them the nice and move on to the next one. Yeah, in a lot of cases, the new spell card, it's basically functionally equivalent to being a low-level monster, but sometimes you can set it and gain some life points and an extra card for a later turn. So it is probably worth running. I'm not sure if you'd really want all 3 copies or not, but I'd only do it if I was already being incentivized to run the if I was already running the level 2 normals for the skills. Alright, so this hand finally resembles something passable in that I'm able to actually set some cards and move on. Now, if I knew this was Ancient Forces, I could bring out the Guitarist, but we do not, so instead I shall simply set my board and pass. Oh, and we actually only see 2 monsters come out. We are keeping a monster on board, which means we should be able to establish a pretty strong field. Let's see. My opponent doesn't have any monsters in the graveyard, so these Dream Drummers actually can't be activated. That said, we can go ahead and summon out a Guitarist. 1 and 2. Then 2 Psychic Assailants. And Guitarist can activate the effect. It gains 800 attack points. And then I can choose to either summon a second Guitarist or just swing in with these. Ultimately, I am going to go for the double boss play, getting them out of my hand, establishing some more aggressive presence early in the game. Widespread Ruin is Widespread Ruin. Not worth really thinking about, because if I just sit here and don't attack, I don't have any chance to win. I'm not running Spell or Trap removal, I will simply just power through it. We deal a little over 3,000, which is looking good. If we can set up our Hangry skill in the future, that could be nice. Get ready to get amped up. We don't need to use it yet, but we also don't really have anything crazy going on. We just kind of summon Lamoon and swing into battle. Also, no reason to activate Guitarist. 2400 is going to be more than enough to handle whatever they have set. 2 0 defense monsters is perfect. Let's go ahead and swing into the third one. So let's go ahead and save our skill for when we're going to actually need to draw these cards. Sports Dragon Pitcher is going to be able to revive the Slugger we destroyed last turn. That said, I do have 2 trap cards, so even if a double boss monster board comes out, the odds of it being a double Slayer board is still relatively low. We do see 1 though, so show me the second Dragonic Slayer, and I will cry. Luckily they are activating Resonance, which means, presumably I should be winning this game. As they should be swinging in. Oh, they actually go that way, specifically to avoid the Psychic Wall. Impressive. And we somehow managed to fail to find the card we are looking for. I guess we bring out Kanan. Though we could have done a Speedy Reformer for that extra damage. I don't think it would have been the right play to do so. Let's swing into here. Try to deal our 1400. Swing over here. We know they have some kind of trap card. But I think it's worth trying to go for. If it's just a barrier, it's not actually going to be enough to stop us. And it really sucks that we don't have any high-level monsters. We can't actually activate our skill, as we don't have 3 open slots. Bunker Strike coming out, but I am fine with that. They mill a Dragius, but they do have a pretty high chance of finding a Phoenix Dragon at this point. There are only 10 cards left in the deck, so we will see how it goes. That said, Dragius actually doesn't clear this board. They basically need to draw into another Slayer. Felicia says, I think it's always correct to use the Hangry Draw as soon as possible to get Roman Pick into rotation. That is reasonable, but I actually did not have the Roman Pick available. I had significantly more life points than my opponent, and would not have been able to activate its effect. Dragonic Slayer comes down, and unfortunately is going to destroy my other card. They managed to just somehow get there. Both Guitars go down, and I have no monster capable of getting me there. But I draw the Shining Superstar. Let's see. 2 pitchers. If I put the Slugger back, I could theoretically get somewhere. I also have 2 Speedy Performers, which is interesting. But I'm not really sure where to go with that. I think the Dream Drummer is a good start. I want to activate the effect for sure, get another card into my deck. Probably not the Roman Pick, since I want to keep that for later. Let's put Dream Drummer for Dream Drummer. And then we will return a Sports Dragon Slugger. So that way they are unable to use that final pitcher they have. I would like to gain life points, thank you. Then I can Speedy Performer and Tribute off for... Oh, wait. Let's go ahead and activate Speedy Performer's effect. Mill 1 and boost. So I'm going to help the Prima Guitarna. Oh, and you know what? I probably could have done a second Speedy Performer instead of the Dream Drummer. But this is still fine. 500. The thing is, we can theoretically go for game. But I know they have a trap card, so it's not worth it to do so. Let's just go into battle, try to take out the Slayer, and see where we end up. Now, I'm almost positive they have a copy of the barrier set, which means I feel like I should just end my turn here. Have a great night, Heather. Thank you for coming around and telling me about your VTuber plans. So, as long as we survive this turn, we might be able to use the Hangry Draw. to finish things out. As long as we pop some monsters with Esperade, which we should easily be able to do, with access to Seahorse Carrier and Roman pick. But it really just comes down to how many life points is the opponent going to leave us with. A Dragius plus a Bunker Strike is very threatening. Maybe I should have put the Kanan in defense mode, as that would have saved me from 900 damage or so. Or 1100. But I think it still would have been exact lethal, which is rough. I will go ahead and send them the like. We tried our best, but we did not get there. Basically, they got the Slayers when they needed them, so we lost. It's hard to tell whether or not, if are the Psychics worse than the other decks we've been playing so far, or is it because we're in gold now that it's harder to take victories? We did start off with 2 wins in a row though, so let's not forget that. We were on the path to greatness. We are now up against a Gokto, and we have a pretty reasonable opening hand. Dream Drummer can get us some life points. We have a Giftaris for next turn. Of course, if we get Yami Rulered, it's kind of fine. Oh, Harpy Lady. This might be a Blue Falcon formation deck, which is great for us. I definitely do not mind facing down a board of 2 Harpy Ladies. We still can't Dream Drummer because they didn't Tribute Summon, but I don't mind that. We see some more good cards come out, so let's Silent Assailant. Speedy Performer. Speedy Performer's effect boosts up that Silent Assailant a little bit. Then we gift Taurist. 1 and 2. Toss down the Severing Psychic Wall. Set the Dream Drummer. Activate Giftaris to gain that 400 attack points. And we'll head into the battle phase. Let's blow up those Harpy Ladies before they're able to do anything else. The set card, probably not going to be a huge deal. Yeah, the dragons are definitely very powerful, and it doesn't help that there are 2 dragon decks, which probably just makes people frustrated with Luke or Konami, even more than they already would be, because it feels like every game is going to be against the same character. We do see Thunder the Thunder coming out, so their boss monsters are now going to be able to clear Giftaris, though they probably could already do that thanks to the Blue Falcon formation. Severing Psychic Wall, and here comes Tengu. Oh, but they go for Max Raider immediately afterwards. I actually wasn't expecting that. Let's turn off the Severing Psychic Wall, as we definitely aren't activating it that turn. Let's see here. My board is pretty good. I don't think I need to overextend or anything, so let's La Moon. Flip the Dream Drummer. Let's activate the effect. We'll go ahead and return our Dream Drummer. And then we will return the only light vanilla Aqua in the opponent's graveyard into the deck, shutting off their Seahorse Carriers. Then we can Prima Gatarna. And this game should be basically over, assuming our attack goes through. If they have a barrier, which they very well could, then we aren't doing anything. I think it's still worth the try, since we have enough trap cards where it doesn't really make a huge difference. We can always survive the next turn. Yep, barrier comes out, and unfortunately, Prima Gatarna is going to go down, but the plan is we get our life points reduced a little bit, survive until the next turn, and then we Destiny draw our way to a win. With Roman pick, Esperade, and Prima Gatarna, plus a Seahorse Carrier already in hand, I'm pretty confident in the board we can put out. all of the pieces are in place for us to win the game. Setting a monster, probably gonna get tributed off. So it's just a matter of time. They could actually play pretty defensively if they want to keep it up, but a second Max Raider comes out, which makes more sense to me. Blue Falcon formation, going to weaken one of my monsters, probably to turn off Severing Psychic Wall. We enter the battle phase, but I do have plenty of protection prepared. I will go ahead and activate both of these cards. First off, Widespread Ruin, forcing this Max Raider to the graveyard. I take 1,000, and then that one I am going to Severing Psychic Wall just to get another card back into the deck. I want more low levels, so Dream Drummer. And now it is my turn. Activate the skill, activate, and we draw another high level, which is unfortunate. If we mill the Roman pick, we are in a pretty good situation. But I doubt... Oh, and we actually do it. Roman pick coming down. Seahorse Carrier. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves another monster. Kanan works wonderfully. Next up is Prima Guitarna. 1 and 2. Now we Roman pick. Activate Roman pick's effect. We will grab Roman pick. No, I don't think we need any more. We can grab Speedy Performer, Tribute, and be in a pretty good spot. Okay. So now Speedy Performer comes out. Activate the effect, we mill a card and buff Prima Guitarna. After that, Esperade has less attack points because we're not actually planning on destroying any monsters. We go 1 and 2. Remember that we're only able to attack directly one time, so we don't actually want to destroy the monsters with Esperade's effect. We just want to boost our monsters as high as possible so that we can run them over in a battle and win the game afterwards. We deal 800, then we deal 1,900, and that puts the opponent below 2,000 to be taken out by Kanan. We managed to get there right at the end. I'll send them over a nice... and that was a pretty good example of the deck in action, so I will go ahead and save that as a replay. So that's our first one in a while. We're gonna need to try to get 2 more if we want to actually rank up. I think this might be the last deck we play for the day, but I will keep going until we hit the rank up. So we could be here all night anyway, especially if we keep running into Luke players. Alright, our opening hand would have been fine going first. Going second, it is a little rough. But let's see what the opponent does. Also, this deck doesn't really have a ton of good hands going second, since it is ultimately not able to do any piercing damage or attack multiple times. So we are forced to more or less just set 5 cards here. But with a Summon Skull, we are playing against just a generic aggro deck, which means no Dragonic Slayers or anything of the sort to worry about. How many other Rush decks do I have? All of them. I've probably played with every single archetype in Rush duels at least a couple of games. Dragias coming out is a huge pain. And they have a 3 boss monster board. That is pretty incredible. Well, we are going to have Romanpic online. So it might be worth using the skill here. Like Rafflesia was probably trying to say, if we can activate the Romanpic, we can potentially get out a couple of big monsters, beat over cards like Summon Skull, etc. So let's get ready to get amped up and see how it goes. Dream Drummer, sure. But we do want to start with the Romanpic because we're trying to mill Romanpic. So we need to go here. Unfortunately, we don't find it. We do get a Speedy Performer, which isn't terrible. Next up is Dream Drummer, which will return another Dream Drummer to the deck and shuffle away my opponent's Curry Bot, preventing them from using it later for any shenanigans. Setting a card and tribute summoning Prima Gotarna. We do have to activate its effect. Unfortunately, there's really no way around it. Set, activate, and then, realistically, I think we just go for the 7-Sword Witch. Deal some damage, and then we have 3 trap cards to protect us. So if their set card is Widespread Ruin, GG, I guess. But it isn't. It is another different trap card. So we can prevent all 3 attacks. We should be totally fine here. Dragius activates the effect, of course, and they're going to try to go for game. Okay, I thought they were about to use a Hammer Crush, but it is just Recovery Force, which is not nearly as big of an issue.
We shouldn't talk anymore. It's just that music you play every time we call, and
Alright, so Spell Archer, not anything impressive, but it's gonna get tributed off for a Gravity Press. Coming out of nowhere, the surprise Gravity Press Dragon to end the game. Well, maybe it's not over just yet. We have Widespread Ruin, so let's destroy Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius. Then we can protect our life points just a little bit with a Severing Psychic Wall. Let's go ahead and return Dream Drummer into the deck. This can help us gain more life points on a future turn. Though Speedy Performer might have been the better option, since Esperade is coming out soon. We find Romanpic. Interesting. How do we sequence this? My life points are definitely going to be 1,000 or lower very, very soon. So Seahorse Carrier, let's go ahead and use you. Activate the effect. We'll add this one. Romanpic. Romanpic, activate the effect. Mill 3. We will add Dream Drummer so we can gain life points. Dream Drummer comes down. Let's gain 500. We will return Speedy Performer. No, we'll return Romanpic into the deck. We will shuffle away a Spell Archer. Oh. I don't have a normal monster, so I don't... Oh, no. I do not have a normal monster. I didn't gain the life points. Well, that makes things a little bit more complicated. I can Esperade. I'm at 1,000, so let's just destroy those 2 monsters as a start. Seems like a plan. Then Monster Reincarnation. we are going to ditch this Kanon for another Roman pick. And then we are going to Roman pick again to try to get another monster onto the board. Mill 3, and we just want a 1500. We're just going for the most damage we can muster. We did not use the skill this turn, it was last turn. So we have 3 attacks. So we clear out here and here. Then we bring in a Silent Assailant, and we try to win the game. I definitely messed up, but we're doing what we can. That's 1 attack. Here comes the second attack. It's a Phantom Bind. But we deal 1500, bringing them down low enough to finish with Esperade. That was a bit of an intense one. But we managed to get there, even through me not reading my cards once again. Need level 30 in order for more Roman pick. Yeah, I do wonder if they will actually give us a second Roman pick. As the ability to just infinitely loop with itself is very strong. The Psychic deck is very bad right now, but with 3 Roman pick, I don't think it's necessarily even Psychic decks that become too good, but the same way you see Seahorse Carrier as an engine, you could totally see Roman pick engines that just fill up the graveyard for 7-Sword Magician, and then they just either loop Roman picks and they mill cards like Silent Assassins and various other just psychic low levels in order to secure their places. Alright, so we just set the 2 Dream Drummers and Kanon alongside Severing Psychic Wall. Keep Seahorse Carrier for later. Yeah, the Chemical Cure cards are pretty good. I'm wondering if we will end up getting them when we get Fusion, or if we'll get them early. Because we do have Blue and Red Medicine in the game already. But they do have a Fusion, so they might be saving it for whenever they release the first Fusion pack. Dragonite and Dragonic Slayer. A classic. My entire board is going away, including the Severing Psychic Wall. Quite unfortunate, but as long as I'm able to draw a boss monster next turn, I will be able to clear the Dragonite. Both of my options will be able to exceed the 2300 attack of Dragonic Slayer. And luckily, since we went first, we do take no damage here. Imagine how much of a worse position we would be in if they had a full extra turn to establish a board presence. Ultimately, this is pretty good. Let's see what we draw. We find a Prima Guitarna, which is good enough for me. Seahorse Carrier, Speedy Performer, and we probably don't even use the Seahorse Carrier's effect, because we're just Silent Assailanting, activating Speedy Performer, buffing this, tributing off the 2 low attack monsters for Prima Guitarna, bring out another high attack normal, and using the effect. No need to end the turn with a random vanilla in hand. Swing into Dragonic Slayer, and interestingly enough, any of the 3 of my monsters would have been able to at least crash with it. Swing in for all 3, and at the cost of 1,000 life points, we've cleared the opponent's board and dealt 3,000. Definitely a worthy trade. Now, on the next turn, we even have the option to start using our skill. And getting the Roman pick online seems pretty good. So, this board is strong enough that I don't think they shouldn't be able to KO us in 1 round from 5,000. We are just a little bit healthier. Even with like Dragius or Sports Dragon play. Can you show us the deck? Absolutely. I will do that after this turn. Okay, so if we're doing this, I'm definitely not playing a ton of cards on the next turn. So, do I activate the skill or not? I'm gonna go with no, because I'm just trying to draw into widespread ruin. But that could be the wrong play, as now, if they clear my board, I don't have access to the skill, because I have so many things in my hand. So I can definitely see the argument for going for it, and building up some cards for later. As now, if they do break the board, I'm just gonna have to like set 3 and pass. I'll let them do it again. So things can get really dicey really quickly, especially since having Psychic Wall doesn't stop 2800s. If my only monster is Gitarna. So probably should have used the skill there. Hopefully, as long as like Edragius doesn't come down, we are theoretically able to just set 3, wait it out for a turn, and then use our skill. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes. So they do have the sports dragons, so they probably can't attack directly this turn. But Dragius is gonna come in and clear things out and deal a bunch of damage in the process. Alright, so it is just the Dragius, which is fine with me. Oh wait, and they actually just walk right into the Severing Psychic Wall and lose the game. That, is pretty funny. Because now if I Prima Gitarna, I should be at 28, but just to be doubly safe, we are going to go ahead and summon the second one. Then we just bring out a third monster of whatever. And then we see if I fail math class. So yeah, 28, I would have been able to get in for exact lethal, but we'll deal over 3,000 instead. That worked out really well. I thought for sure they were going to make some kind of big play, where Dragius clears out the low-level monsters, a Bunker Strike or something, beats the Prima Gitarna, and then I generally just die afterwards. But instead, we managed to rank up, I think. Alright, so we made it to Gold 3. And I did say that was going to be the last one, but I'm kind of wanting to play more. I wasn't expecting to just go on the win streak immediately after I said it would be the last duelist. So we'll probably go ahead with one more. What other decks are coping though? Maybe we go with like Disco Fever or something. I mean, I could play Tengu, but I kind of don't want to do that. Okay, so we'll go with Dark Magician. First, I will take the Dark Magician deck and copy it off somewhere else. Oh wait, no, we actually have a clone of my farming deck elsewhere already, so we can just clear out the farming deck, and we'll go with Disco Fever. So Mimi is a character that has seen play with Boogie Master Draw, Set, Party, generic legend stuff, Cure Master D on Keto, even Blue Medicine Deal if you're an aggro player. But Disco Fever, one of Mimi's main skills, not very good. So let's go ahead and build the deck. And then I know somebody asked to see the psychic list, so I will do that after I build this. So I have to have at least 15 light attribute aqua type monsters in the deck. So let's go here. Filter, light, and aqua. And we need 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14, 15. Well, if we're running Disco Fever, we probably do want to run the Bubbly Elf. So that's 15 here. Do we run the Kanas anyway? I think so. Probably. Spells and traps. We definitely want to take advantage of our Triple Threat Thunder and Widespread Ruin. Basically, the advantage this deck has over others is the ability to have 2 giant blowout cards. Then we look at other traps, and Dion Keto is the only boss monster in the deck, so we want Reincarnation for sure. And then we're also going to want ways to protect it. It is a 2500, so Barrier makes a lot of sense here. After that, we need some more high-level monsters, so let's go ahead and search for levels 5 and 6s. Summon Skull is pretty solid, but I don't think it is actually compatible with the skill. There might be an attack restriction. No, it's level 7 or higher. Effect monsters are aqua type. Okay, so we can run Summon Skull, which is a good start. Probably grab some Torna, giving us a way to deal with set monsters. And then, theoretically, we could run, like, if Royal Rebel's Growl, but, that doesn't seem great to me. So Gravity Pest Dragon, I believe, is the traditional option here. So let's go ahead and save this deck, and then make it active. And then the question is, do we take out the 1400s for curry bots? Just to have some extra, methods of manipulating the opponent. But I do really want Triple Threat Thunder to be going off, so having the maximum number of aquas that we're comfortable running is a good plan. We also have the Monster Reincarnation to grab back a Seahorse Carrier later in the game, or a Boogie Master. So let's go ahead and see if we are able to take some games with Disco Fever. Head on into the PvP arena, and we will get started. Gold rank 3. Can we get to gold 4 with this? Maybe the barrier is actually not the right option because we're running a ton of weak 1 tribute monsters as well. However, I think the shuffling of the barrier will come up a fair bit because we don't have a ton of ways to recycle bosses. Alright, so we are up first and we do see Triple Threat Thunder right off the rip. Seahorse Carrier is live, but we don't have any of our actual boss monsters. Let's see what they go for. And I see the music has stopped. There we go. It is back on. Starting off with an attack resistant curry bot, almost definitely going to get tributed off. Alright, here comes Prima Gatarna. Turn 1. Of course, that is probably a misplay. But unfortunately, we don't really have the punish. Very basist, able to revive Wata Angel at the cost of 500 life points. Let's go ahead and draw. We find a Monster Reincarnation. But we are just going to be setting 5 and passing, unfortunately. This does open us up to some pretty significant damage from Prima Gatarna. But next turn we do have a Monster Reincarnation to get back that Seahorse Carrier. So, ultimately, this should be okay. Folder Blitz is coming out, but yeah, they are just barely not going to be able to activate the effect. They will be 1,500 life points behind when they need to be 2,000. Oh, but here comes another Prima Gatarna. If they summon out another monster next to it, Kitar Kid, they could go for a big push at the cost of 2,000 life points. Will they actually use both of them though? No. Just one, which I think is correct. Bringing yourself down to 3,500 is definitely not the right play. So I can respect using it just one time. Let's see what we draw. We draw a few interesting cards here. Let's go ahead and start with Seahorse Carrier. Activate the effect. Seahorse Carrier revives a La Moon. Bubbly Elf can come out after that. And then we summon the third Aqua. So we can triple threat Thunder. This will reduce one Prima Katana all the way down to 0 attack. Then we can tribute 1 and 2. Summon Keto, the Boogie Master. And we are going to Monster Reincarnation. We ditch La Moon. And we get another Seahorse Carrier. This is going to give us an extra card in hand to continue our combo. Seahorse Carrier, activate the effect, and grab another La Moon. Now, Gravity Press Dragon, tribute over the Seahorse Carrier, and activate its effect to weaken the opponent even more. Let's go ahead and toss this, and bring down Buried Bassist. Finally, we can Disco Fever, and boost up Keto, the Boogie Master. Head into battle, and we should be able to clear this entire board. Alright, they are at 1,700, but we are at 3,200, and we might actually be losing. With the Hangry skill, paying 1,500 to use Prima Katana and a Roman pick, could end up being pretty rough. Maybe I could have played that differently to structure a way that I can use Boogie Master's effect to gain 8,000, and then maybe I have like 2 La Moons on the field that both get buffed with the skill. And I have the barrier. Yeah, okay, there were definitely some alternate plans that could have been done. A Music Performer is interesting. I think it's just here for fodder. They don't want to pay 800 because they already have Roman pick and the Prima Katana. Oh, but it's a Folder Blitz. Wait, they didn't use the skill. Interesting. I wonder why they didn't go for it. Wouldn't you really want a Roman pick and Esperade this turn to try to finish me off? Climax Finale. Paying 1,100. Oh, is this, like, going for game? No. It's not even going for game. We're gonna shuffle a Seahorse Carrier back into the deck. I think they must have just forgotten to activate the skill. And we draw pretty well. Let's go ahead and bring out this one. Tribute Summon, and that is game. A 2,500 plus Gravity Press Dragon is enough to deal the remaining 600 life points. No need to bad manners them. Let's just go in and swing. 1 and 2. Disco Fever grabs its first win. Yeah, the Music Performer is, it can also turn on the Folder Blitzes that they are playing. So I can see including it in a more aggressive build of the deck. Personally, I don't think I would run it though. Let's go ahead and start our next duel. Yeah, but I can definitely see the combo. So you Roman pick for 500 life points, a Music Performer for 800, and a Prima Katana for 1,000, and that is over 2,000 life points being paid. And then you can Folder Blitz it and deal an extra 1500 while having a pretty strong board. Okay, we are up first. Zafalon has a good point. They did play two copies of Voltcondor pretty early into the game, so they might not have had a third one in the deck to use the skill. So I have a Widespread Ruin. If we're playing against Ancient Forces, summoning the Voltcondor is usually the right play, because we can back it up and blow up whatever their singular large monster is. If it's Draconic Resonance, this play gets kind of blown out of the water by a Dragonic Slayer. However, I think it's still probably right because it forces them to have exactly a turn 1 Slayer play in order to beat this. It's basically impossible for them to get 2 high-level monsters on turn 1. Though I guess Triad Dragon could turn on an extra card as well. But I don't know. This feels right to me. I gain the life points. I have protection. Okay, and it's a Bunker Strike. So we should be fine. With only 2 cards remaining, there's no way for them to get a Slayer plus another monster on board. We see a Dragorite in attack mode. They might be going for it. If they swing in, we Widespread Ruin, and they basically just lose on the spot. They lose on the spot. I was about to say it doesn't work, but I was thinking of Recital not functioning against the high-level monsters. Widespread Ruin can destroy anything. Okay, that is not perfect. But I guess it's fine. We just summon out the 2 low levels. Set the barrier. Let's go ahead, heal even more. Go up to 8,000 life points. Activate Disco Fever. Buff 1 and buff 2. And then we will head into battle. Kanon takes this one out. Then the defense mode, and we get 2,500 direct damage, while still having a trap card to protect us. Once again, this is pretty good. Just like last time, if they have a Bunker Strike instead of a Slayer, Voltcondor is safe, thanks to 28 minus 4 being 24. Alright, we see a Twin-Edged Dragon. So I think they are going for a pretty greedy play here. I have the barrier, so I can pop one of these. Ultimately, I probably want to stop the Gravity Pest Dragon more than I want to stop the Twin-Edged Dragon. Yeah, because once again, I'm keeping my boss monster on the field and denying them the ability to really play the game. As long as this stays around, I'm going to go to 9,000 life points on the next turn. Opponent surrenders, I'll go ahead and send them a nice, and Disco Fever gets another win. That was a reasonable enough game, but I'm going to save the previous one instead, I think. Oh, and that's 10. I need to delete something. Just in case another really good game comes up, let's go to the replays real quick and just get rid of one of them. I'm not sure which one to pick, but I probably already did whatever I needed this one for. Alright, so we might be on our way to Gold 4. I'm pretty sure we won 2 games in a row with Disco Fever. So if we manage to win the 3rd one, that's gonna be it. Ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. Alright, and we are up first. Hopefully we get some cards we can set onto the field for later. Okay, so you know how I said I wanted some cards we could set onto the field? We didn't do that. So let's just set 2 monsters, or 2 back row, and pass. Even 1 low level would have been, like if we drew a low level for turn, I could have at least just gone into the summon skull, had a backup with the barrier, and try to get through it that way. But this is not looking good. They popped the reincarnation, which I'm fine with. Bringing out their own summon skull. Looks like ultimately this isn't a super aggressive turn from them either. So let's go here, and we draw 2 more spells and traps. Sometimes the game just does not want you to do it. Yeah, there's just nothing we can do about it. We played that game perfectly. I'll send them over a nice... Ba-ba-ba-da-bum. I wonder how likely a situation like that is. I don't think I'm running like a crazy number of tributes. Alright, this time we are going second, which is definitely worse. But we do have cards. So we are able to play the game. We'll probably summon out the Boogie Master. Not sure if we'll gain the life points or just try to get the full field. Usually a monster is going to be worth more than 1,000 because you can tell they have 1,400 attack. So that's 1,400. Oh, and here comes a Bunker Strike turn 1. Definitely an incorrect move on their part. Yeah, let's summon this one and this one. I think we just go through all of the cards here and we don't bother with the Seahorse Carrier, as we instead want to buff our monsters with the Disco Fever skill. We get 10 levels, so let's get aggressive with the Bubbly Elf. 1, and then we get another one. 2. Battle phase. And now Bubbly Elf is able to destroy whatever the face down card is, even if it's a Draco the Tiny at 1,400, which we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. Condor swings in, we get 1,400. The opponent's down to 3,700. Let's see how it goes. Unfortunately, we don't have any trap cards, and they did get to do some... Oh, they didn't actually get to filter with the Bunker Strike because it was turn 1. Okay, but with a Triad Drago, they're definitely drawing an extra card. Oh, but with 2 of them, they could mess it up. They might accidentally... Oh, you see, they don't even use the effect. They just summon a Slayer, which is great for us. They missed out on 2 free cards because they needed to have a way to beat the 2,500, which is wild. They do have a face down, and running into a destruction or Widespread Ruin is going to be really rough. We do get some cards here, which are pretty nice. Let's Seahorse Carrier to start. Activate the effect. Grab Bubbly Elf. Then Monster Reincarnation. We need to ditch the Bubbly Elf that we just added for Dion Keto again. Then Bubbly Elf comes out. And then are we buffing it this time? Or no? We we could put down the Dion Keto, tribute, discard. Okay, that seems reasonable. 1 and... Oh, but we have to tribute 2. The thing is, we are starting to get a decent number of aqua monsters in the graveyard. Not enough for a, Yeah, so this actually does let the, Okay. Sorry, I had to do some math. Oh, wait, actually, no, this is worse. This is definitely worse. But it's just barely fine enough. Okay, they have something. But if it's a Phantom Bind, it is a Phantom Bind. So we know, based on the hourglasses, it only went up when Dion Keto went in, and we just barely had enough attack points where Phantom Bind did not switch the outcome of that battle. Have they played a Slugger? I don't think so. So they bring out a Dragorite. Let's see what they do next. Gravity Press is going to be able to weaken Dion Keto just enough that they can beat it, but they discard a Dragius to do it. They must have something crazy in their hand. Buffing those is fine, but the Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius represents more damage, which is odd. Oh, they must really want whatever that card is. Okay, especially if that's a Widespread Ruin, I definitely get what they're coming from. We haven't really seen any of our big traps yet, but maybe it's better that way. Let's go with Seahorse Carrier, activate the effect. We're gonna grab Bubbly Elf. Normal summon. Bring out you. Right, and we know they have a Phantom Bind, so we do need to be watching out for that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the graveyard. That's 10, and this is going to be 11. But with the skill, we are still safe. We gain some life points, boost up you, and now let's see if we can actually get in for damage. If the other card's a Ruin, it is really rough for us. No, I did the math right. Yeah, we're fine. Oh, that other card must be a Dragonic Pressure. We are at exactly the big lethal, but they are down 2 Dragorites, so getting the full 4,800 damage combo should be rare. We have relatively high odds of surviving this turn. Setting 3 and passing doesn't work because we have a Torna, but here comes a Fire Guardian to beat it up. Very interesting. It could very well be a second Phantom Bind face down though. So we have to watch out for that. I was about to say I would really like to see a Gravity Press Dragon here, and that is exactly what we pull. However, Torn of the Windweaver might be even better. Let's go ahead and tribute it off. And then activate the effect. If we ditch this, we can actually flip over one of their monsters. And it's a 0 attack. Yep, and they concede. I'll go ahead and send them over the like. And I think that was actually the best, a better showcase of the skill than the previous stuff. So let's go ahead and save that replay and move on. I will go ahead and delete one more replay though. Connection error, no problem. Luckily, these errors are happening after the game instead of during them. Favorite replays, we can just delete the one. Oh, whoopsies. Did a misclick. Let's just get rid of this one here. And head on back in. If I remember how gold works, this should be another rank up opportunity. So let's see if we are lucky enough. Alright, we are up against a Roa. If we win this, we reach gold 4. And we open really, really well. Obviously having Widespread Ruin is always a good start. And we have 3 monsters alongside it. And it's even the weaker ones, which means we're setting up stronger normal monsters for later in the game. Seahorse Carrier is live. We still have all of our boss monsters we can draw into next turn. It should be pretty good. Here comes a turn 1 heavy metal, which theoretically, we could leave them with a completely wide open field. Let's Widespread Ruin. Fair argument would be to save that for after they activate their own effect later, but I'm just going in for a quick lethal. We go 1 and 2. That's 2,500. Seahorse Carrier. And we're not only dealing a bunch of damage, we are going to 8,000 life points. Because we protected all 3 monsters, we have a ton of resources available to us. And that means 2 Dion Ketos, the 1,400. Keep in mind this is only 100 less damage than summoning Bubbly Elf, and it results in having a 700 attack point or a 600 attack point stronger monster on the next turn. Disco Fever, buff up Kanan, and we battle. Swing in with 1. Swing in with 2. And then we finish it up. Dion Keto the Boogie Master, a turn 3 victory. I was not wrong when I said that was a good opening hand. And it got even better on the draw. Should Aqua get the Disco Ball? I think it'd be fine. It's a pretty good card. But with only 1 boss monster, I think it has to summon the level 8, if I remember correctly. Which is a tough time for it. You have to actually have it in the graveyard, you can't put it back with your barriers, etc. But I think it would be a cool card to see. Especially with skills like Ancient Forces, making it really easy for a deck to get 2 monsters at 2,500 or higher. Having the Disco Ball as a form of recovery could work out. So we made it to gold rank 4. Is there one more deck we can play? To get to gold 5. I think those are all of the really underlooked stuff. So Roa's main skill, of course, is Heavy Drive. People are running Heavy Drive. We've got Roman. People use Climax Beat, but we already did a Psychic deck. Gavin's main skill is actually pretty good. So I think we've gone through just about all of the main decks that I would say did not live up to their expectations. So we are going to be calling it a day here. Let me go ahead and see if there is anyone on Twitch for the raid. YouTube watchers, feel free to go catch up if you haven't seen any of my recent videos, or watch whoever else you want to see. I will hopefully be uploading a video in the next few days, probably trying to cover the replays I saved today. Oh, looks like there is a person actually playing Rush Duels. So we'll go ahead and raid one of the... Oh, there were a few Rush players today. Let's go with maybe this one. Let me see if there's anything weird happening on their stream while we finish this out. Do they have... Oh, they're now playing speed duels. Alright, so this is someone on the Goha Festival. English, perfect. Relatively new. Oh, but they are done with the stream. It's ending. Okay, so that did not work out. Instead, everyone just go ahead and have... Well, so Robert, Red Eyes is actually a pretty good... Oh, the Beetle down. Yeah, that version definitely is not as good. But the Red Eye skill, I think, is the opposite. I know a lot of people who saw it and then went, oh, Red Eyes, the skill is cope, and just simply thought it would be bad. But then Red Eyes just started tearing up the event circuit. So I'll probably get to Gold 5 on my own at some point. Though, I know we do have Stage 2 coming up in the near future. So my next stream will probably be covering that. Then I'll hit King of Games once the Rush Festival is